How's everyone doing?
Doing all right, trying to
Pretty
survive the
good.
snow. But it's been all right.
Snow, yeah. Well, it's man, it is here. We're in the thick of it. This is the Thodcast, conversations about animation. It is frozen season, but we're finding ways to stay warm here on the show. I'm Philip Elke up in northern Minnesota and joined by Laura. You're also in Minnesota, but in the more southern region. And then, hey, Bridget, you're joining in from uh, sorry, Georgia, of course.
It's like somewhere.
Nice. Yeah.
A much,
Well, it is not snowing here.
yeah.
And if it does snow, it probably won't be till January.
Oh wow.
We got a couple of days of snow in January and like in the beginning of February this year, at the beginning of the year, but that's a rare thing. It's like if we get like a dusting once a year, that's like kind of rare.
Nice. Yeah. Closest thing we have to a guest from down under. Of course, if we did, we'd be able to say you're from the land of Oz. Uh,
There you
but
go.
nobody here joining from over the rainbow. As far as we know, maybe Laura, you've probably been to a couple special events now surrounding Wicked that maybe took you over the rainbow a little bit, but
A little bit. Yeah.
we'll go on that journey together here, and I will try to keep it a little short. I had a busy day and just, tired in general, but we'll get some thoughts out on this new movie that's out, and yeah, I'll start off with you, Laura, because I know you've maybe even seen it multiple times at this point.
Have not. I just saw it the one time, which was the early screening, and I had meant to see it another time, but it just hadn't quite lined up. And then with the snow and everything, I was like, well, so I'm trying to go off of that memory. And also, but I've also been kind of on a Wicked high lately. Like, I was just in New York. I saw the Broadway show,
Hmm.
which was incredible. The current cast is phenomenal. I also got to go on the stage, which was like, what? And then backstage tour, which was, I don't even know, like craziness. So like, yeah, I've just been fully Wicked mood lately, and so it came out at like yeah, I just have been consuming all of the media with it, but I need to watch it again. I might do a double feature if I can find a way to do that. I know there have been some around, but yeah.
Awesome. Great to have that context and insight of, yeah, geez, really getting the full recent dose of all things Wicked. Man, yeah, New York ground zero for Wicked, that's for sure. Bridget, how are things for you? How was the movie? Did you see it once? Did you recap the original? What's all been going on down in the land of Oz?
Well, so we did go. What is today? Oh, we went yesterday. I was like, I don't know what date it is.
Mhm.
But yeah, we went yesterday and we took my daughter. She wanted to go, which she went with me the first time we saw it. So I have not recapped it, but I have the album from the first one and I
Right.
listened to it a lot. So I'm like, I don't even really need to watch the first one, I think. And I know I was a theater kid, so I'm like, Wicked's been in my DNA since like high school. So
Hmm.
so I was like, I didn't rewatch it. I wanted to, but holidays, especially with
No.
kids and all the
Yeah.
family. So didn't get time to do that. But it was a lot of fun. I was a little worried because I knew that there was an intimate scene, but it wasn't too bad. My daughter did not cringe to death. So that was good.
I was wondering what the kids' reactions would be to part two, just in tone as well, like because it's
Yeah.
different vibe. Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
I would say I think like from her age, especially because they're a bit more cognizant of like what's going on in the world as well. They're a little more plugged in than I feel like I was at
Mm,
12. So she was a big fan. She was like, oh, she
nice.
was like, honestly, this like the vibes kind of similar to like some of the things happening now.
Mm,
But she was like, I really liked
critical
it.
thinking. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like, she's like plugged in much more than I was at that age. I don't even think I was plugged in until I was like 20. So I'm like, good for you, girl. You get it.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it was really good. Of course, I boohooed like a baby at the end, and I knew I
Yep.
would.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
like I had tissues ready because
You are set to go.
I was prepared. I
Yeah.
cried at the end of the first one. I was like, and nothing even happened
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying. But yeah, so like, and I saw a friend of mine before she went and saw it with her kids, and I was like, take tissues. And her kids were like, why? Why? And I was like, don't worry about it. Just take tissues. But my daughter didn't cry. And I told her, I was like, you just don't understand. You haven't
You
lived
will
life
when you're
yet. You
older.
haven't
Yes.
had friendships.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
haven't been through it. I'm like, once you've been through it,
Yes.
you'll be more emotional later. You'll understand later.
Yeah, I'm glad that I've finally gotten, I feel the full Wicked experience now, having heard
Hmm.
most of the soundtrack in just in passing, and then now having watched both films and not having seen the Broadway show. So yeah, I've been green pilled now. So
Yay.
yeah, fun little trip to the land of Oz as someone who's just sort of casually familiar with the works, the franchise, the sort of multiverse that exists within the this creation of L. Frank Baum, this sort of a turn of the 20th century literary phenomenon, targeted at kids, but with definitely a lot of iconography and social commentary that has a certain cultural relevance that allowed it to become like a classic and stick in our minds as a culture and as a collective, that celebrates works that have artistic merit, and yeah, there's a lot going on in Wicked, which is based on basically a novel that is inspired by those original Wizard of Oz works from the early 1900s. L. Frank Baum's original novel, published in 1900, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and then the 1939 famous Judy Garland film. And then now, yeah, Wicked, based on a book from the 90s that was adapted to a Broadway musical, and now finally adapted into a feature film or two feature films. And I don't know, maybe we'll continue to see more within this Wicked world. um, definitely differences between this iteration of the Wizard of Oz mythology and the 1939 film, but they're not supposed to be like identical necessarily. And there's also variations with the original source material and novels as well. But yeah, playing on a lot of different things we discussed in like the first discussion we had of the first Wicked film. But now this picks up after like the big musical number, Defying Gravity, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the land of Oz. I don't know. Animals are getting rounded up. It's a little bit dystopian, a little fascistic kind of things that are going on. Yeah, it's what is the what is the whole point and premise of this whole Wicked enterprise? Laura, if you think you wouldn't mind breaking it down in your from your perspective. What is this? What's the point of visiting the world of Oz in the way that this film and the show and book does?
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to the book that Gregory Maguire wrote, it actually does have pretty even more overt themes of like anti-fascism and stuff like that with the Gale Force, and honestly like a very like SS sort of a vibe, and like Elba's very like this anarchist, like art outright. And it's always kind of been like that. And he wrote this sort of like, yeah, in the 90s before like the sort of wave of terrorism that happened in the early 2000s and stuff. So it's sort of like it's something that sort of mirrors that without kind of foreshadowing. I don't know. But yeah, and that's a book that I read when I was a with it 12-year-old, which I would not recommend for most 12-year-olds, to be
Mm.
honest. And I think I read an interview with Gregory Maguire recently where he was like, yeah, I make it very clear in the first like 3 pages for like any grandma that's like skimming through it, being like, "Oh, what's this Wicked about? Like maybe I should get it to my grandkids." Like, no, you will find out very quickly that it's not a kid's read. But and yeah, I loved it as a 12-year-old. I don't know. But yeah, I know it's a story that like when you don't think about it, but like you're just like, oh, this whole thing is about animals. Like that's basically like what it comes back to, and like their rights, but particularly the animals in this story and how they are kind of an analog for like marginalized people, and just like because they are sort of the oppressed class here, and that's what it's kind of all about in a way, but also what happens when somebody gets really invested in a cause, but then has their own dreams and aspirations. And then what it's like when those things are sort of competing, where it's like, yeah, I really wanted this thing, but then there's this greater cause, but then, yeah, and then what that can all mean. And then I think Wicked the musical brings in levels of like privilege with that, with Glinda, which I don't think was there as much in the books. Like the Glinda Elphaba relation was a bit different in the books, and the Glinda as a character was a bit different as well. But I think the musical sort of has her wrestle, and the movie as well, wrestle with this idea of like, oh, I'm a public figure now, and there's certain expectations of me, but also I have obligations to my newfound friend, and it's like a whole like thing that she's figuring out. And then Fiero, and he's like, been promoted as well, but also is very, he's kind of represents sort of an in between the two, where Elphaba is like very like on her own path. She's like made this decision for herself. She's broken free of like the system for the most part. And then Glinda is very much an establishment like in the system, but tries to sort of break things from the inside. Fiero's sort of the bridge between them. And because like he's very like with the cause, with Elphaba and all that, but also is like, kind of bound to his duties to the wizard and Glinda, and then the whole engagement and all that. And so, yeah, that's sort of where we are. And also at the beginning of part two, this is something I couldn't quite figure out because it's done differently in the books and musical, but there is a time jump. They say in the movie that 12 tides have passed, which implies that's kind of vague. I think it sort of implies a year, which does not seem right. I think in the books it was at least 10 years. And in the musical, it's like a considerable amount of time has passed because at the beginning of the show, when Glinda does No One Mourns the Wicked, she says like, I did know her at school, but you have to understand this was a very long time ago when we were both so very young. So like a considerable amount of time has passed between the shiz days and the melting, I guess you could say. So that's something I was trying to figure out. I was like, did they age them? Was that the idea for part two, for everybody to be aged? Like in the musical, Elphaba in particular, she has a different makeup look for act two, which is like a little bit, I don't know how you'd describe it. Like it's a more sultry, I guess, eye look, but also a little bit more mature too.
Yeah,
She
they're
has,
mature.
yeah, she has a little more dimension to her face. I think in act one, she's a little more flat and more fresh, I guess. And then in act two, it's a little more like, ooh, like
She's a bit more
glam.
jaded.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
she's
So
she's mature and jaded
yeah,
and
I
seen
did
some things.
notice, yeah, for Cynthia's look, I think they were going for that. I just didn't know if there was a time skip. I don't
Oh,
know.
Homegirl was
Yeah.
it's a year. I did
Yeah,
well,
okay.
I was curious to know that too because I was like, of course, my husband it did not know much about Wicked outside of hearing the music from me. And so us going into he was blind. He was blind going
Hmm.
into it. And so we had to like break things down afterwards. He was like,
Yeah.
"All right, we need to debrief." So that's
Hmm.
what I was like, yeah, I'm like, because they were teenagers, like essentially. And I'm like, but they're like going through it in the second one, which I get why like Ness Rose was like, I just want to go back to how it was. We were all like cool and having fun. And I was like, but how much older are they? So I looked into it and it was a year. So it's been a
Yeah.
year
Huh.
since like since Defying Gravity essentially. And now all of this is happening very
Dang. Okay.
quickly. But I'm like, which could I wondered that too, like when they like get, at the beginning, all of the propaganda and the flyers. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, before it like clicked for me, I was like, man, they turned that out fast.
Yeah, right.
Like their marketing people got to work.
Madame Morrible,
But
in one of her many jobs, is like, I'm the graphic
yeah.
designer of Oz. Yeah.
Well, and that was something that I know is different from the musical is that Madame Morrible is like she's the
She's
villain.
everywhere. She's
She I not,
everywhere as well.
I
She's
wish
like
that
the
they would have
efficient
like
at this wedding. I
yeah,
was like,
she's the
oh, she does
officiant.
everything.
She's running everything. And I felt like that was kind of an interesting take because I know I also read the book. I read the book in high school. I read the first one. I
Yeah.
didn't go any farther than that, but I have the first one. Um, and it, yeah, she's like I mean, she's very much like vigilante justice. Elphaba is. She's
Mhm.
like, this is bad. And yeah, it's basically a fascist government. And they're, going against the animals and the munchkins eventually. Which I was like, yeah, this is very much given like Nazi Germany type stuff. When
Hmm.
they're like putting people
Hmm.
in cages, I was like, oh, you guys are doing a lot. um, but yeah, but it was very interesting to me that in this version that the wizard's kind of like stupid.
Yeah.
And the next, he's not really evil. He just seems like he's
Yeah.
just going
He's like
around
a
with like,
figurehead, but also like
yeah,
I
he's
wonder
just
if
like
that
easily
was,
influenced
yeah,
by
how
Madame
intentional
Horrible.
that was. Yeah.
And
It's
so
so
I
interesting.
honestly wish they would have like gone into that more, like made it because and then yeah, it's like I wish they would have like gone harder with like if they were going to be like she is really the one orchestrating all this and like doing this stuff that they would have like
Yeah.
gone a little more in with it. But I do know they also had to fit a lot of stuff into one
Yeah.
movie.
And that's
So
tough. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Act Two is generally for Wicked regarded as sort of like weaker in plot than Act One. And I think a lot of people knew this going in, like, okay, there's only so much that you can do to not like improve it, but like even to just adapt this onto a screen because it is sort of convoluted story-wise. There's a lot of things that happen. You're like,
a
why
lot of
is
things going
this?
on.
Lots happening, and then like, most of the heavy hitter songs are in Act One. Not to say that I don't like the Act Two songs. There are some of my favorite ones are in Act Two as
Oh,
well.
and they added the
But
new ones, which I thought were
yes,
nice.
yes,
They
they
added
added the
some
new
good like
material.
added
Yeah.
some new like stuff to kind of flesh out why people are doing things and why they feel this way,
Yeah.
which I thought was good because I feel like a lot of times a lot of people portray like Glinda as the villain. And I'm like, Glinda is not the villain. Like, is she morally gray at times? Yes.
Yeah.
But
But
also
pink
she's like a teenager, young adult trying to figure out what is important to her after being,
has been
like you said,
brainwashed.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's very much like class warfare as well
Mhm.
because you have Fiero who's a prince, you have Glinda who's basically a princess,
Yeah.
and then you have Elphaba who was like, yeah, she was the mayor's daughter, but she comes from Munchkin Land and she was kind of a pariah because she was green, and so it's like you have Glinda who like very much has been like all in with like, oh, I'm so perfect and we're amazing and we're rich and important. And like Fiero, he's like the kind of the same, but he's more like I don't really care, but I'm
Mhm.
rich so I get away with everything. And so it was nice to see like them evolve because like Fiero at the end, he's like has something to stand for. Where in the
Right.
beginning, he's like dancing through life, nothing matters.
Yeah. Mindless and
And now he's
brainless,
like,
etc.
yeah,
And
now he's
now,
like,
yeah.
I'll die. I'll die for this cause.
Yeah.
I'll die,
Yeah. He gets fully on board and in
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, I thought that them adding some of the songs and like I get exposition for Glinda was good
Yeah.
because I'm like, she's not the villain. She's not the villain.
Yeah, because it's about both of them in a way. The musical
Yes.
makes it a little bit more where it's both of their stories. And I think in Act One, it was very much more so Elphaba's story. And now we get to see a little bit more of Glinda's story that we don't even see in the musical, like on stage. So like
Yeah.
they did a flashback with her as a young tot, and she's like at a birthday party, and she's just like all she wants is to like make real magic and something that's not, an illusion, and like have like, have a power that comes from within and there's like a rainbow that appears and like it's kind of ambiguous. Like honestly, I think that she might have done it and not realized because of things that happen later on in the story. But so there's something there even before like I think in Oz like the concept of magic, it's something that like it's sort of baked into there and like probably other people have it and don't realize that they do, and maybe it's not to the level of like Elphaba like making thing, Elphaba and
Yeah.
what she does and Madame Horrible with the weather and all that, like so there's probably other sort of magical beings around that like are doing sort of like everyday magic and they just don't know about it or something, but yeah, that was cool to see sort of more of Glinda's story, especially like when they do want to sort of highlight both of these characters and both of these actors in a way. So yeah, I do like the things that they add. I know there was some other stuff that was added but then cut. There was like a
I
whole
know.
dress that Glinda
I
wore and a whole
want the
scene.
tulip dress.
Yeah. Although I will say, getting into the beginning with Thank Goodness, I there was a lot happening and I was like, I wish we could just like drop right into the song. Like I understand why there was like a lot of exposition scenes to do, but also I was part of me was like, let's just get to the singing. Like I think it's just in theater, they start very quickly with the singing and get into that. And Thank Goodness is like my favorite Glinda moment. So I was very eager to see what Ariana was going to do with it. And I loved it. Like I really loved her take on it. And made her even more believable to me as Glinda, as like the full package of Glinda. Because I think, yeah, there's like the idea of Glinda, like everybody thinks of popular Glinda, they think of No One Warns the Wicked Glinda, like Pink, but like thank goodness is where she really starts to sort of deprogram in a way and like actually think of like, oh, what is going on and what do I even want anymore? And like what is being told to me, like is getting what I want really everything anymore? Like so that's a number
Yeah,
that I
she's like,
really,
why am I
yeah.
miserable? I have
Yeah,
everything, but
why do I hate
I'm
my life?
miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's
I'm having a
relatable,
bad
honestly.
time.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're just both relatable. Like
Yeah.
in during like No Good Deed, where she's like, "What am I even doing?" I'm
Oh,
like,
no
"Girl,
good deed.
felt,
That's my favorite
felt."
Elphaba. I wanted to
Oh,
throw my shoes in the cinema at what Cynthia was doing with her voice. I was like, how dare you? Like,
oh,
you are too good.
yes.
Like,
I
oh
was like
my
very
God.
much prepared for it because I've seen I've never actually got to see like Wicked the Broadway show in its
Ooh,
entirety,
yeah.
but I've gotten to see like obviously clips and them
Yes.
singing and stuff. And I was like, it was so nice to see like what it was like to have like a whole environment and not
Yeah.
just like a stage. I was like, it
Yes.
was so cool. The monkeys are flying around, clothes are flying around, everything's flying
Yeah.
around. I was like, thank thunder and lightning. I was like, man, this is great. I was having a great
Yeah.
time. But yeah, at the beginning, when she's like, what am I even doing? Everything I'm
Mhm.
doing is stupid and also wrong. And I was like, girl,
Yeah.
you know what?
Relatable.
Sometimes I feel like that
I
too.
don't even know what I'm reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're doing right now. I'm just honestly, that's
It's
what
a
being
Hail
adult
Mary,
like feels like
honestly.
half the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Where's the
Yeah.
other adults? Someone
Yeah.
tell me what we're doing.
I need an adult. Real.
Wow.
Yeah.
A big success. This film opened $147 million
Oh,
domestic,
dang.
and yeah, a big surge for movies. It's I mean, we're already in December, so it's that prime season where you get those big Thanksgiving releases. Zootopia came out
Mhm.
and did similar numbers, following weekend as we're recording this. So yeah, I mean, the last one was big, but this one I think is even bigger now, and
Oh,
it's shorter
interesting.
too. I kind of appreciate just not having to sit in the theaters as much. I kind of saw this a little bit as homework. I'm not nearly as into the whole musical scene, but no, I enjoyed my time, and like yeah, I recognize the songs, and I just yeah the was surprised how affected I was at certain moments, and just like that song. I mean, I love the original performance by Idina Menzel and her voice and everything about how she's able to convey such power with her singing, and like the For Good
Mm.
finale song just really struck me, and I mean I wasn't expecting to be sobbing in the theater, but it's like
Oh, hey, gotcha.
the,
That's the for good experience.
the
We
first
could have
time
Absolutely.
we could have
Welcome
warned
to the
you.
club.
in a
Yeah,
while.
man. I
Yeah,
could just hear them singing. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
like, I heard it said, and I'm like, I'm out. Can't do
Oh
this.
no.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that was my graduation song
Mine too.
in high
Yeah, I
school.
helped
Yeah, I
choose
think that's
it.
like
Yeah.
every, yeah,
Yes.
I think we talked about this
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
time. But yeah, it's like, every like theater kid, it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're all leaving our friends. We've all changed.
It feels so
For good it
serious too.
is.
And like it kind of is. Like in the moment, you're like, oh, because like life really is not quite the same afterwards. You're like, I'm
Well,
not singing
no, it's
every day
like,
with my people. And like, so like, yeah, like the emotions are gonna be high then. And like, there still are now. Like, yeah, I hear that song and I'm just like, dang, like, and then what they did with it in this film too was just like, oh, like what happened afterwards,
hmm
not quite the same as what happens on stage. And I really liked it. I think I had heard that that door scene was improv
hmm
between the both of them, and they didn't see what was going on. Like they didn't know what each other was doing,
Mhm.
so they just were
Yeah.
like kind of doing this moment, which to me it was funny. I'm a super Doctor Who fan, and that reminded me of
Oh, yes.
Doomsday.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
I
Doctor
was like,
Who.
that was they did a Doomsday. I was like, oh no, they hit me twice. Like you can't
How
do
are you
this to
gonna do
me.
this to me? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's when I saw it, it was honestly like, I guess how they ended up filming it was it's kind of a nod to What Is This Feeling?
Ah,
When they're
yeah.
like, when they
Uh-huh.
become roommates and it's like Glinda's opening the
Oh, oh,
door
that's
and
so
then,
sad.
they're closing the door. And I
Oh,
was just like, no, not again.
oh no.
And that's the thing, like, and of course, I loved the ending, but it was so interesting to see also how they did like the end thing that
Mm.
happens where things
Yes.
happen.
Yes. This will be
And
a
like
spoiler-filled podcast if people
I
don't
know
Yeah.
I'm
know.
trying. I don't know when we're allowed to do spoilers, so just tell me
Yeah.
when we're allowed.
Well, so basically to I don't know, give some context, like there's some crossover between the events of this and like the original Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the arrival of Dorothy and all that. There's like an interesting moment of the I guess where things start to merge, where Madame Morrible
Oh.
causes a storm, and there's she's like got weather powers, and there's a big tornado. It's like, oh, familiar sight
Hmm.
in Wizard of Oz adaptation. Well, it turns out that this is the tornado, and there's the house that comes down, and how does it? Well, there's the Nessa character who,
Oh, Nessa.
yeah,
Yep.
it's
Oh,
interesting.
Nessa.
There's so many questions about like the timeline and the logistics of this film that sort of, I don't know, you really have to
Should not think about it in a way. Almost,
well,
it's like too much, but also it's like you
Well,
just accept
yeah, when
it.
it's like
You're like,
the like
yeah.
timeline, it's like, okay, there's been a year of them not catching her and her like messing up stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
And
And the
it's just
well,
bam,
lion
bam, bam,
grew
bam,
up.
bam, bam, bam. Yeah,
Like,
like all these things happen
yeah.
so
yes.
quickly after a year, and I'm like, something's not right here.
Something,
No,
the math
I
is not
don't like that.
mathing.
I do not like that 1 year strict
Nah, yeah.
assertion. I mean, she says
Gotta
something
be
about,
more.
yeah, 12 turnings the tide or something.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, so it's like a year. Yeah.
well, who how
Ish.
the hell
Depends on
knows?
how long
Ish.
an Aussian tide is. I don't
I
know.
guess
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, it
Unless
could be 3 days, and it's only been a
Yeah.
couple weeks. But the lion is full grown. I don't
Yeah,
know how long it takes
that's
a lion to be full grown.
uh-huh.
in
Yeah,
this
which was
fantasy, yeah, world, I think time perhaps works differently too,
yeah.
maybe it's
I
like
mean,
Game of Thrones style, like the way the seasons pass, and
Mhm.
well, I mean, the animals also talk, so like we have to
yeah.
suspend our
Suspension of
disbelief a little bit.
disbelief. Yeah.
But well, that's one of the things that I thought was interesting when they do the cyclone gets created.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Madame Morrible says, "Oh, we have to do these things. These things must be done delicately." That is
Mhm.
a line from the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of
Mhm.
Oz.
Yes, yes, I
When she's like,
remember.
"Ah, I gotta figure out how to get Dorothy,"
Yeah,
and she's like, "These
delicately.
things must
Yeah.
be done delicately." Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Madame
I
Horrible,
was like,
flip it
ah.
around, Wicked Witch.
I know, and I was just,
Ah,
honestly, I wish they would have gone harder with that. I don't know if stuff of hers got cut
I
too to,
wonder.
trim down the time because I'm like,
Yes.
she really
Yeah.
was more of the villain in this, and I wish they would have gone harder because I love Michelle Yeoh. I think that she was a great villain. Did
Yeah.
I love her singing?
Scary.
No,
Yeah, they did cut a
but
bit of her singing, I noticed in Thank Goodness.
yeah,
There's a whole verse there that was eliminated. And
yeah,
also
which
sometimes they would give some of her lines to chorus people, it really depended, and then she took stuff down the octave. Like I didn't mind that too much, but like I did want to see more of her character. Yeah.
I wish
Genuinely
like I would have.
terrifying.
Well, I feel like even I don't know if like you want to cast a good actor and they're just not a good singer, just
Mm.
do what they used to do. Have someone else sing for
Yeah, have a
them.
ghost singer. There's
Please.
no shame in that, I don't
Yes,
think.
and like
Yeah.
they used to do that all the time. I
They
mean,
still
even in
do that.
animated, like
Greatest
Disney
Showman,
animated films.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
uh-huh.
Well, in like the old Disney movies, they'd have an actor, they have a voice actor, and then they'd
Yes,
have a
uh-huh.
singer. So
Hmm.
I'm like, why didn't we do that for her? You
Yeah.
could have found get
It could have
Leah
been too
Salonga in
noticeable,
here.
maybe.
They could have gotten brought in here.
Actually, oh, the concept of Leah Salonga, Madame Morrible. Ooh, that I kind of love that. Yeah.
That was my thing. I was just like, you could have like, if you're not going to cast someone who can sing in a musical movie, as they so love to not do sometimes,
Mm.
not mentioning Beauty and the Beast, um, but yeah, I'm like, just have someone else sing, and that's fine. Like, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, well, Michelle Yeoh didn't sing." Well, she's not
Yeah.
singing.
It's not like Madame
That's not what I'm
Morrible's a
here
super
for.
singy role too, but like yeah,
Yeah,
so like you could have snuck in somebody in there to
somebody else,
belt a little bit,
any
but
something. I know.
yeah,
I was just like, I wish I would have seen more of her, but I could have done without her singing.
yeah.
That's my
And
hot take.
the one
I
thing
don't know
though
if it's a
I
hot take, but
no, no, I see where, yeah. The one thing though with the film that I appreciate that they did do was like sort of like editing things for people's vocals abilities, but also like in less noticeable ways too. Like sometimes like bringing a key maybe a half step down where like most people would not notice that, but like but it,
Mhm.
like it still allows people to like shine in their own right. And I also Really enjoyed what they did with Wicked Witch of the East, which is not on the original Broadway album. And it's a number that I always look forward to when I see Wicked because it's a big moment for Nessa Rose. And
Hmm.
historically on stage, it's the character and how they approach that is a bit ableist. They're like, oh, okay, all she wants is
Yeah,
to like be cured
she
of
just
her.
wants to walk and
Yeah, and
stuff.
like
Yeah.
that's a as a
I
concept,
was
not
intrigued to see
super
how they were
great.
going to change
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I do like what they did with that and also how it made it more about like, oh, she just wants the feeling of freedom, whatever that means to her, and the feeling like she's flying, which they interpret a bit literally, which it's kind of cool because the flying theme comes up quite a bit. So like I think it's only natural to make it like, oh, well, let's lift her spirits as well. But yeah, that moment is the first time that we see sort of one of many transformations that occur in
Yeah.
part two of Wicked. I'm curious to see, Philip, your thoughts on this. I don't know if you knew about some of these characters that have double identities, as we
Okay.
can say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess vaguely familiar, but good to see it realized in full glory. And yeah, the interesting dynamics between these characters too. The Munchkin Bach and Nessa. Nessa's she she inherits her father's role of governor, a certain region of. I mean, Elphaba, Glinda, like they share, and Fiero even like share the distinction of like coming from the Ozian aristocracy. So they're all just kind of being naturally shuffled into these positions as they age, and yeah, they're remaining part of this ruling class. With the exception of Elphaba being the um, agitator in this sort of um, oppressive movement that's happening through, and this I guess you could say um, mechanization or industrialization that's happening throughout Oz as well. I don't know if that's something that is just part of like the wizard's arrival as well to Oz, where he's bringing some of his earthly sensibilities and big into like tinkering and trains, and he's got all these fantastic inventions in his lair. No, like actual magic. Like there's a distinction
Mm.
between the actual conjuration of uh, mystical magic that Elphaba and Madame Morrible are capable of, and then illusion and kind of a more fraudulent claim to to wizarddom, uh, such as demonstrated by Jeff Goldblum's Oz, or Glinda herself. I guess we learn, yeah. I mean, interesting. Sometimes in these kinds of worlds, there's a direct link between socio-economic status, or I mean, usually presented in terms of like royalty, and in fantasy it's a medieval style world. This is kind of interesting where it's more of a hybrid. It is more modern. It's like steampunk, turn of the century, Victorian almost, and so it's not your classic fantasy world, which gives this sort of a unique twist, but it's still got those aristocratic elements, the sort of feudalism, heraldry kind of remnants that it's holding on to, but it's modernizing, and I think that's what's leading to all of these upheavals that are going on, and so Elphaba is finding herself on the outside of that, whereas her sister Nessa is nestled in Nessa nestled nice, firmly within that milieu. And yeah, she's paraplegic. She's visited, Elphaba, as much as she is portrayed, and like they're distributing leaflets through the air. I guess there's the flying monkeys, which have been co-opted by the
Oh
wizard,
yeah.
is that how they're able to distribute the flying leaflets?
I guess so.
I
Uh,
And
thought
like,
they kind of just shot them like out of a window at
yeah,
some
because they're
point.
building the Yellow Brick Road at the start. And I think
yeah.
there's also,
Yes.
as they're building this, maybe that's when they're distributing. I will also say Alphaba's entrance at the beginning was very superhero, and I
Yeah.
was
Oh
very
yeah.
here for it. I was like, hell yeah, let's go.
But
But
it's
She had her
just
yeah.
superhero landing. I love that for her.
well, super villain, I guess,
Yeah.
according to the residents, the denizens of Oz are buying this narrative hook, line, and sinker, and it's kind of fun. It's like something for them to do almost. That's sort of the point. I feel like the whole narrative thrust of this um, story. The Wicked, like the people, they need their hero and their villain to be inspired and to I don't know.
It kind of like reminds me of the Hunger Games. It's
Yeah.
like all the
Yeah, yeah,
rich
yeah.
people, they're like, we're bored. We need something to
Yeah.
do. Oh, let's, you know what?
Emerald
Let's meet
City
the
is the
animals and
capital.
Alphaba.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're so bored. And they all like, they all look kind of funky and their hair's all
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
They're
Madame
very
Morrible,
much
Effie
giving
Trinket.
Hunger Games. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very much giving. Well, and I did see that, like, I actually saw like the Madame Morrible character in the musical because I obviously looked at stuff afterwards, but they were talking about how in the musical she's more like a quirky elfie trinket kind of
Yes.
person from
Yeah.
Hunger Games, where
Uh-huh.
she's not really, she's just kind of like going along with the wizard. But in this, they've made her like the villain,
Yeah.
which I
But
thought was interesting. But of course, I went to the movies
mhm.
with an engineer and a history buff, and so he was telling me, and he's like, "Oh, when fascist regimes take over, a big thing they do is industrialism and making all these roads because they're like, look, we have all
Oh
this money, and
yeah.
look what we're doing for you,
Mhm.
and that's how they're spreading their
Look at that. Yeah.
cause to everyone else." And so he was like, yeah, he was like, honestly, it's really like the fascism playbook in this whole freaking
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, well, but you still get yeah, and Elphaba, and I suppose Madame Morrible are the two like truly non-compatible characters within this whole echelon because she is just sort of in certain moments able to just she's got her broom so she can fly around, but basically waltz into the Oz's palace and chat with Glinda and Oz and be all pally with them, but uh you know ostensibly she's a fugitive, but it's all just sort of this facade. However, yeah, I guess if Madame Morrible were able to capture Elphaba, and she would, imprison her or do, because you see, terrible things befall a character, later in the film who is an ally of Elphaba, and yeah, there are characters that are truly treated horribly, and perhaps that is, just a nature of them not having the same kind of power status. Elphaba is this magical witch. She's able to evade, capture for the most part. But yeah, and then Madame Morrible is more the one character who's really kind of principled, like, and takes that hardline approach to what the agenda that the Ozians are following. The Oz himself, he's more kind of a victim of circumstance as well. But yeah, all this stemming, from the whole magical premise of this world and Elphaba's ability to perform magic, and you're wondering when she's reuniting with Nessa in Nessa's office, and Bach is there, and Nessa has a thing for Bach actually, um, who I guess was obsessed with Glinda, weirdly, like, sure, as like maybe a schoolboy type crush, you'd think that would be, all the more that would go. But now he's working for her because she likes him, and you'd think they'd be made for each other. But then again, her status, I think, as this governor, and him just being kind of a lowly munchkin, means that he's not that interested. Um, but then she like gets the opportunity to potentially work magic with the grimoire, which Elphaba brings to Nessa's office, and performs magic. I was wondering, like, if she was gonna heal, Nessa, make her able to walk or something. She floats around. The slippers turn from silver to ruby red.
As best as they can
Yeah,
get away with.
they
Yeah.
get hot. They get
Yeah.
hot, which I was
Huh.
like, so they do the magic,
Mhm.
and she's in the air. But then Bach's like, hey, I don't want to be with you. I want to go find Glinda and tell her not to get married.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think he
she
figures that
drops
she
back
can.
down.
Yeah.
Well, like she drops back down. And I'm like, wait, so was it just like a really brief spell? Which I know, like I get that like Elphaba doesn't really know what she's doing. She just
Yeah.
does stuff and she's like, hopefully this works.
That was
Hopefully this
convenient.
helps.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like I don't actually know what's happening. I'm just reading,
Yeah,
and
I
it
would be
does stuff.
curious to know if it was like she can fly whenever she wants now. This is how she
Yeah.
gets around, or like,
Or
yeah,
is it just because like she was feeling bad, so she's like, you know what?
yeah.
I don't want to fly anymore. I'm gonna be mad
Yeah,
now.
because
it's
I just
yeah.
I wondered
having
about that.
seen the show. Actually, the Nessa Rose that I saw was the first Nessa Rose who is actually a wheelchair user, and she's an
Yeah.
ambulatory wheelchair user. And when she was standing, she has a natural wobble to her walk, so it was a little bit more like,
But she
authentic
has
for her
cerebral
to.
palsy.
Yes, yeah. So she
Yeah.
was able to walk for like short sequences, but
Stints.
like
Yeah.
yeah. So I was wondering if they were going to go that route or a different route. But like yeah, I know the governor's mansion scene is very interesting because there's so much plot happening. You find out that the Munchkins are not allowed to leave. Like they
Hmm.
kind of reveal this sort of after the fact. But so like Bach is
So
like
it's like
stuck
it was
there.
very like Gestapo-y when they're
Yes,
like, you
it
can't
very
get on
much
the train
is. Yeah,
actually, and I
she's
was like,
like, "Oh, you
oh.
can't, you're not in love with me? Well, I will make you stay here so
Yeah.
that you have no other choice. Like you can't even leave," which is diabolical. And
Hmm.
also there's a line in the musical that I wish they would have kept, like when Elphaba and Nessa Rose are reuniting. Well, first of all, Elphaba drops in, "There's no place like home," but then also Nessa Rose says, I can't harbor a huge fugitive. I'm an unelected official." That's one of my favorites. I was like, ah, but yeah, there's a lot of this like yeah, the sisterly tension, but also like yeah, Nessa Rose has some power to her, even if she's pronouncing the Grimmery words incorrectly. Like there's something there too. So like I guess she just didn't have the chance to sort of explore that growing up. But yeah, and it would have been cool to see what else she was capable of doing it. But alas, she gets a house dropped on her. So
Dude, I'm such a Nessa Rose hater though that I was like, honestly,
well,
I hated
I
Bach too.
mean, by that
Bach,
point in the
I became a
story,
Bach hater in this
they
movie too. I was
deserved
like,
each other in a way.
they did. I was like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what? He gets what he gets.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like
I
by
didn't
that
like him
point in the
either.
story, my sympathy starts to wane a bit because especially with what she does with the Munchkins, I'm like, okay, girl, that is a bit insane.
I was like,
Like,
you know what? I knew I didn't like you. Well, and
yeah.
like the thing too is like she comes into power, and it's kind of like honestly, it feels like she's kind of like at the same crossroads as like Glinda. Is that like she kind of
Yeah.
has this power that she's wanted because for so
Mm.
long she was so sheltered,
She wanted
but like
independence
she's
and
not
freedom
happy
and
with it
yeah.
because she's like, what do I do with this? And then she just uses it to be petty.
Yeah.
Like she's like she's where she's like kind of with like getting a higher status with these people that she's admired,
Mhm.
but it's like, oh, you're still unhappy, and the guy that you like still doesn't like you. So,
Yeah. And now he's a Tin Man. So,
Mhm.
oh, which
yeah.
I liked his M on his costume.
Oh, so
It
the
like looks
makeup.
kind of like a heart. If they like did that
Yes,
intentionally.
they also like they made it so I think what I was reading was all the objects that were in the room at the time the spell happened and with Elphaba trying to fix things, it made it so
Oh
all the
yeah.
metal objects that were just there were a part of what became him. So there's like a bit of a cup, a bit of a pot, a bit of something else, and you can see them like if you look really closely, like all these
Yeah.
little layers of different objects. It's really well done, and it's all practical too. Like all of the makeup, like
Mhm.
he's not a CGI Tin Man. Like that was a practical makeup job done very well. And yeah, and like losing your heart, makes sense with the whole he wants a heart. So yeah, you start to see more of these parallels come together, and that's one of the first
Yeah.
moments where you're like, oh, okay, we're
Well,
d-
he was like
yeah.
does the tray like at the tea set, and I was like, ooh, foreshadowing,
Yeah, when he first
foreshadowing. Which
entered in
my husband
Act
had no idea, and
One,
I was like,
there were a lot
foreshadowing.
of they do a lot of foreshadowing in Act One. So when he first
Mhm.
enters, he does a little like he adjusts his body in a very similar
Yeah.
way to that scene with the Tin Man in like what the dance scene with the Tin
Yeah.
Man in the
Hmm.
39 movie. I was like, and they changed his last name. I don't remember what his last name was originally, but they changed it to Woodsman, which is even more obvious.
Okay.
So he's Bach Woodsman in the movies, which
He's
sure,
chopping
okay.
wood,
Yeah,
doing the
yeah.
most. Well, and that the thing that aggravated me that is that, he's like and Nessa's like, oh, she did it. Elphaba
No,
did
that
it.
was
Blah blah
you,
blah blah blah. Blah.
girl. That
And
was
I was like,
you.
well, the thing is though, is that he doesn't quite remember what happened, but
Yeah.
like later Fiyero remembers what happened. So I'm like, is Bach just being lame? I don't know. I'm a Bach hater now too. They deserved each other. I don't like them.
Right.
I was like, hater. I don't like
Yeah.
you, hater. I didn't like the
Well,
lion either.
Yeah.
it's a and I was confused, watching the first movie, and the Munchkins, they're not portrayed by little people in this iteration, and
They
so
just like look, they all
They're
kind of
like
look
gingers.
similar.
I
I
think they're
guess
almost
Yeah, they're
all
like
gingers, which
curly
is
haired
interesting.
gingers.
I don't know if that was an intentional commentary that they wanted to make there, but
Well, and
that
it's
was
not like a race
fascinating.
thing
No, no,
technically, because like
yeah.
everyone's different, like skin color.
Yeah,
But I did
uh-huh.
think it was interesting that it's like, okay, we're not going to make them little people, but like you can tell that they are a
Yeah.
a type of
so.
people that are all
They
together.
all modeled them off Ethan Slater, quite literally, is what I read.
Yes,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, wow, okay, yeah.
So I guess yeah, you can distinguish them as sort of vaguely Irish, but the uh, perhaps reasoning being that one of them does ultimately get transformed into the Tin Woodsman, and he's clearly a normally proportioned human. But then again, like I guess if he's being transfigured, what's the
Like a symbol.
transmutate, Full Metal Alchemist style transmutated
Yeah,
into this metallic
body
creature.
horror.
And he could have any, I guess, shape or physiology, regardless of his original human form. But yeah, I don't know if that's the reasoning for not casting little people in these roles. I mean, in the stage version, it's not necessarily going to be strictly like that either, or however it was imagined originally, like whether in the L. Frank Baum novels, or who was the author of the original Wicked
Gregory
novel?
Maguire,
Gregory
yeah.
Maguire. Yeah. So I'm
Actually,
not.
I
Yeah.
think going back to the original Oz books, the Munchkins were described as like not that much dissimilar in height to Dorothy. So they're
Yeah.
not like actual little people even there too. Like they're like shorter, but not like yeah, more like petite in stature, I think is what I don't remember what the exact wording was, but like I remember it being like, oh, Dorothy was like kind of at level with them and she's like a child. So yeah, I think it was a lot of yeah, the MGM film had a lot of influence on not only on just a lot of Oz things. And of course the MGM film has some things under copyright and you can see kind of what Wicked does to sort of do their own way. Like the red ruby slippers or something that you cannot use unless you, I don't know. I have seen them used weirdly, and I don't know if that means people like get a license from MGM to use it, but like, yeah, Wicked was not able to, so they came up with the clever idea of like, we'll use the silver shoes from the original, but then they will appear red when magic is happening to them. So,
Well, and
yeah.
well, usually copyright is only for so long as well. So I'd be
Yeah.
intrigued to know if the
A
copyright is
hundred
ran
years, I
out because
think.
that
So
was
like
okay.
39 and 2039, I think is when that will
Okay.
probably come into public domain. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Certain things, I
unless,
don't know, are
yeah.
probably certain things must be in the public domain, I would think, but from like the novel, maybe. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. But yeah, like you have Nessa's status as the witch, and obviously she's very her death is vociferously celebrated in that 1939 original film, but is that warranted based on her depiction here and however long she was considered a witch? She doesn't seem to have much of a grasp of magic as far as we see in this story. But she definitely starts down that path, and of course would be reviled by the Munchkins for the
Mhm.
imposed restrictions on their lifestyle and the ability to travel throughout Oz, basically. But she's imposing out of spite for Bach, I guess, who still has a thing for Glinda. But I mean, obviously, it,
She's not that into you,
well,
man.
there's no, yeah,
Uh,
it's a totally different world that he's like wanting to go pull like a Shrek, and I object at this
oh,
grand
right.
royal
Yeah.
wedding with between her and Fiyero. And yeah, was Glinda, I mean, maybe she and Bach actually had a thing, and the whole Fiyero thing was more just a facade. It was a facade between her and Fiyero, but
There definitely is a facade. Yeah, because like, well,
Yeah.
Fiyero doesn't even know he's getting engaged for one, and also he's sort of going along with it, even though his heart's in a different place after like, everything
Mhm.
happens in Act One with and he starts to sort of, this is him gaining a brain, but then
Mhm.
also he sort of loses it again in a different way. But like he's starting to actually think for himself and is like, wait, maybe I don't like the direction the world is going in, and maybe I need to like stand for something and
Yeah, maybe
like
maybe you could do something about this.
yeah, yeah. And like and you can see that Glinda's sort of wrestling with that too, but she's like, no, but I have to. Like I have a duty and an obligation. Like I
Mhm.
have to do this. But like he's like
He's like, no, you don't.
he kind of clocks her too. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're here because you can't like you want
You
this.
love the
Like you love the
attention.
attention."
Yeah.
And like yeah, like, and she's like, "Who couldn't?" And he's like, you know who would be able to." Yeah. So, yeah, there's
And
some interesting things there, yeah.
yeah, I mean, there was some like I guess controversy surrounding the accusations of ableism, and I apologize. I think I used the H word earlier when discussing this. Like, you don't like to nowadays describe like a person needing healing if they're paraplegic because it's like there's really nothing you can do usually in those circumstances. But in this magical world, you never know if like she's going to cast a spell and now suddenly her sister can walk, or but in this case it's fly around, which would be interesting. Like if she was suddenly able to like as a witch fly around just
Yeah, give her a broom.
yeah,
Yeah.
or with a broom or something. Yeah, because I mean, in the original Wizard of Oz, you see that vision of the witch flying outside the window as
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
the house is taken up by the tornado, and maybe
She's on
that's
the
just
bike.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Mrs.
yeah, the
Gulch.
bike.
Which you hear in the score when the
Hmm.
cyclone happens. It's very slow. It goes da 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 da
Yeah,
da da. I'm like, ah, Stephen Schwartz. Yeah.
I was wondering if, or I've always wondered if is that supposed to be the Wicked Witch of the East or the West? But it's Miss Gulch, so maybe it's just supposed to be kind of
The
Dorothy
concept of a
imagining.
witch, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Miss
She
Gulch
thinks
is
I think she calls her a witch in the beginning. She's like, "You're just
Yes.
a
Yeah.
witch."
yeah, was Linda Hamilton or whatever
Margaret Hamilton. Yeah.
Margaret Hamilton,
Margaret Hamilton,
Yeah.
yeah.
who was yeah the Wicked Witch of the West, and in that film there is no actual portrayal of the Wicked Witch of the East. You
Besides
just
her
see her
feet.
feet.
You see her feet and then
Yeah.
they're gone. Which well, that was one thing when they're like arguing at her death
The
site,
cat
I
fight. Yeah.
suppose, which I loved. It was
Yes.
so amusing to me. But
Mhm.
my thing was, she was like, "Oh, I want my sister's shoes. Why would you give them away?" But I was like, "But weren't they technically Glinda's shoes, and Glinda gave her those shoes? So weren't they technically
What?
Glinda's shoes to give away?"
No, they were the dad gave them to her. I think they were the mother's shoes, right?
Oh, were they?
Like
Okay, I
it was
thought
the
Glinda gave
hat
Glinda's shoes.
was Glinda's, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, at the very beginning when
Oh, I know what
Nessa's
it is.
entering,
She shows her
yeah.
like red shoes in the first one. Okay,
Yes. Oh,
that's why I was
yes.
confused.
Yeah, that is kind of confusing. I know they added those red
Yeah,
shoes in Popular
because she was
for
like,
the
"Oh, look at
movie.
these shoes." Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
never mind.
yeah. But the silver ones are
Okay, so
Nessa's
those
that
were
were
hers.
like a
Okay,
parting gift from the dad being like, I think they were the mom's. I think you see the mom wearing them in the birth scene.
maybe.
Yeah, if I remember
She was wearing
correctly.
those shoes while she was
She
having
was
that
wearing
baby.
them when she was giving birth to
She
Elphaba.
was,
Or
you knew
yeah,
it. We knew
it's
she was
just
extra.
whoa, okay.
But yeah, well, that's but I loved the whole fight scene because it
Yeah.
was like Glenda's finally casting aside
Mhm.
like the goody two shoes and Alphabet. Honestly, like it was funny because like Glinda slaps her and she's like, I feel good about myself. And then
Yeah.
Alphabet does it back, and my husband was like, "Wait, why did she slap her though? Like I don't get why she slaps her." I'm like, "It's just a
Mm.
culmination, babe. Just let him. It's a
Yeah.
cat fight.
You
You
gotta
gotta
let it
I
out. You
no
gotta
questions."
I also like imagining this happening after the events of the original 39 film where like she is she drops in on this whole occasion of the Munchkins
Mhm.
celebrating the Wicked Witch of the East demise, and Dorothy's there and they're celebrating Dorothy, and then yeah, the witch shows up and she's
Mm.
got the big burst of she puts on all this pageantry, and then disappear. There's a classic
Mhm.
in a cloud of smoke, and you can sort of see in that original film the trap door that opens up that
Mm.
Margaret
Mhm.
Hamilton drops
That
down
burned
into.
her.
Yeah,
Oh
third degree
yeah.
burns. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. But then after everyone kind of they see Dorothy off, and then yeah, the witch is just hanging out in the background, and she confronts Glinda like they're all pals, and so yeah, I mean, I imagine maybe something like that similarly played out. It is technically a different take on on the story, but something like that could have happened here. And you even see later on there is a trap door that plays a role in the service of the plot itself. So like,
Which also had an injury on Broadway with Idina Menzel cracking her ribs,
Mhm.
coming out in that red Adidas tracksuit. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
they have them in like the thing, not a
Yes.
harness, but a
When I
thing. It's
went
like
on
a
the
dolly thing.
backstage tour, I was being guided by the original Dr. Dillamond, Bill Humans, and he was like, "This is sort of the danger tour." So he was giving us all of this, like somebody got injured here, somebody got a concussion there. I was like, "This isn't dangerous." It's also the stage is built on a rake, and I guess a lot of dancers get injuries from that too. So like, there's a bit of a history with I don't know. People call it the Wizard of Oz curse as well. Like, there's a bit of a like there's something there. I don't know what it is, but like it's magic. But like yeah,
yeah.
people do get injured. Like it's a thing.
Well,
I mean, I'm not surprised.
finally at the end of this movie, you get a diegetic trapdoor. It's supposed to
Mm.
be a part, a piece of the story, and then there's a big reveal there. For some reason, you really only see glimpses, the cowardly lion and the Tin Man as they're accompanying Dorothy, and she's kind of in the background. She's never even, there's even a moment when she's interacting with Elphaba, when Elphaba has the monkeys capture her or whatever. So she does some villainous things here. It's
And
like,
she's like yelling at her
Yeah, I was
in
like,
the
shut
basement.
up. This farm
Stop,
girl
give me
is
the
getting on my
show.
nerves.
it's like, sure, she's the Elphaba's the hero of this story, but she doesn't have to be portrayed as like totally saintly. We like a
Yeah,
little
she's
bit
a
of
witch
gray.
after all, so
Yeah.
you
Well,
gotta
I
be a
mean,
little
when she's
witchy.
going, well, my husband was like, "Oh yeah," she was like kind of mean at the end, and I was like, "Well, I mean, she's
Well,
going through it.
yeah.
Like she thinks that her
Everybody
boyfriend
in her
died.
life is like
Like,
dropping like flies. Like you hear to
yeah,
know the beat.
everyone's
Like her
dying.
sister's dead. She doesn't know where her first friend, the doctor, like Dr. Dillman, he's missing. And then
When at that
Fiona,
moment she
like it's
thinks
just
that he's
yeah,
dead
yeah,
Oh,
at that
well,
time, so it's just like,
Fiero,
yeah.
you mentioned an intimate. I mean, this movie it's rated
nothing
PG like the first one. There's nothing explicit. I mean, there's implied.
happens
Yeah, the guy has
There's
his
some
shirt off.
implications, but yeah, nothing outright. Yeah.
technically. He doesn't have a shirt on after, but
The
yeah,
cardigan.
my daughter,
Ah, the
my
good
daughter,
old cardigan.
dude, I am in craft groups. Everyone's like, someone make a template so I can crochet
I kind of
the
want it. Not gonna lie, it looks
they call
comfy.
it the sex sweater is what they're
Yep.
calling it.
Yep. The sex
That's what they're
shawl.
calling it,
Yep.
or the love shawl.
Yep.
It's things I've seen it referred to as. But honestly, though, it looks really comfy.
It
People are like,
really
"This is
does.
like something." They're like, "It looks like something that like someone actually took out of like someone's closet, not
Yeah.
something they just made for the movie." They
Like
were
I
just like, "Hey,
wonder
we
if
need her in something."
does Elphaba know how to do that, or did one of the animals make that? Like these are the questions that I have in my
I
head.
You're like,
as a
I have questions.
as a Black Friday or no Cyber Monday, we're
Oh,
recording this on Cyber Monday,
oh
and
yeah.
as an indulgence, I did buy, and it was sort of like one of those Instagram. You're afraid is it just some AI scammy thing,
Oh
but
no.
no, it's a reputable
Were you
reputable site.
influenced?
I like Googled it, and yeah, it's
Mhm.
like the geek, I don't know, geek something website that does sell legitimate clothes and that are
Mm.
probably at least decent. Like I've gotten ugly sweaters from GameStop, and I think it's
Mm.
it's something probably along those lines. Cheap material, but whatever. It's fun and ugly, seasonal.
Licensed. Yeah.
So the one I got today was a Flynn's Arcade ugly Christmas
Oh.
sweater from Tron. So I want, like, it was, I Googled Tron ugly Christmas sweater after I saw the ad on Instagram, and this was the first thing that came up. So I was like, okay, so this is legit. It's not just some AI schlop. It still might be AI generated by this company. I'm not
There's
gonna,
no telling nowadays.
Mm.
but it was the first result, and I didn't see any other Tron ugly Christmas sweaters. Whereas I already have 3 Star Wars ugly Christmas sweaters, so I gotta have it.
Gotta get the Tron in there.
Gotta get the
Yeah.
Tron. But okay, so sweater talk.
Sweater talk.
Sex sweaters.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Sweaters. The
uh,
love shawls.
and yeah, the song banger of a song, of
Oh
course.
yeah, that I knew that that song was gonna be like something, and it really was. I the only
I,
my only critique is that I wish the staging at the beginning was a little different. Because, the first line of the song is Kiss Me Too Fiercely, and she's walking away from him. I'm like,
He
where
hadn't
are we
even kissed her
going?
yet.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of walking and not looking at each other. And I was
She's
like, I
timid.
think they
You
were
guys should be
afraid to
having
get
an
into it.
intimate moment
Like
at
on
this
stage,
time,
they are kneeling, they are getting into
Mm.
it.
like
Like
in each
it is
other's
a whole
arms.
like Fierro probably has green makeup by the end of that moment, like
I
all over.
I thought
So yeah.
I thought it was very Phantom of the Opera vibes. They're
Yes.
kind of unsure of how to approach each other, you know.
Although the ending, love the ending. Like that's something that
Mhm.
does not happen in the stage show where she lifts the two of them up. I was like, oh, okay, well they had their little sky high
But
moment or
that
Superman
the
moment
thing
in a way. Yeah.
the thing I wondered, I was like, I thought she could fly because of the broom. And then she was
Mm.
levitating, and I was like, okay, so we can just fly? We don't need broom.
She's just
I was
yeah.
perplexed
I
by
guess
it. She
it's
was
been
just
a
doing the
year,
most.
so she's maybe like honed in her magic and is like
Yeah.
because she's doing all these tricks at the beginning with the broom, but also like on her like her she's on her like supervillain superhero moment and
Yeah,
like
she's
do
like
it.
flinging
So
them
she's like
around, doing the
leveled up her
most.
magic. Like I don't know if she's been studying out of the grimoire or like
It looks
getting
like she was.
yeah, yeah, and she's built this like hut for herself, which I thought was
Yeah,
really cool. I
it
really
was her
enjoyed.
Scarlet Witch moment.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it reminded me of, her with the book
You
in
know,
her
Yeah,
like
that looked
weird.
so cool.
it's
Yeah.
it's
That's what it reminded me of.
yeah, interesting when you see a superhero narrative that actually kind of walks you through the progression of
Mm.
this uber powerful character, not necessarily knowing just right off the bat how to utilize their powers. You think, naturally, sure, they might have the potential to do these incredible things, but not have any kind of training as to how to like properly implement these abilities. And so few stories actually kind of take you through those. You get the brief scene in like Spider-Man. He's on the rooftop trying to figure out how to use his web and like
Mhm.
learn his strength, how far he can jump, things like that. But those kinds of scenes are often very few and far between. And usually when someone has great power, with
Mm,
great power comes great responsibility.
yeah,
But they are suddenly able, they also have like the great
they
power to
figure it
just
out.
know automatically how to use
It
these
takes
things.
her like a while to figure it out, which is cool to see, like in an origin story of sorts. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
a really good depiction I thought of this sort of thing is in the new Stranger Things. Like 11 now is finally able to like demonstrate, some like real tangible superhero abilities, kind of that you didn't really see in the previous seasons, except on rare occasions. So like it's the opposite of like the Mary Sue thing,
Mm.
Ray's, in those Star Wars films being accused of like just knowing inherently how to do a ton of power, powerful force abilities, with no formal training. I guess some people, would argue that she's been through so much adversity living on this desert planet and scrounging around for scraps and things that she was able to sort of inherently pick up on her natural abilities just through those uh, difficulties she faced in her upbringing. But yeah, in this case, Wicket, it's everything is kind of rushed. So like, but
Mm.
like I said, this is the world of Oz. It's magical. It doesn't necessarily function exactly like our world. It's on the other side of the rainbow. So who really cares if it doesn't naturally line up as much as we would like it to logically?
Oh, I will say back to the love sweater.
Mhm.
Jonathan Bailey,
Mm.
he's
Yeah.
sexiest man alive this year, sexiest man of the year, whatever they call it.
Hmm.
I watched him in Bridgerton,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I already knew that he was
You
good
knew you
at
were familiar
that
with his
yearning.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he added the singing to it, and I was like, yes, yes,
The man
claps,
is a
claps.
professional yearner. What
He
else is there to
is,
say?
and it's
Like,
so funny because he's always yearning after women. He doesn't
yeah. I think it's
like he's a good actor.
yeah,
Okay.
he's good at those like scenes where like he's supposed to be getting married but doesn't want to get married. I think this is his third time doing that. There's Bridgerton,
Yes.
there's this, and then he was in the Gender Bent Company musical Sondheim, and he sang Not
Mm,
Getting Married Today, which is such a great, I love his version of it. It's really well done. There are clips
I'll
of it
have to look
floating
it
around
up.
on Twitter.
I'll have
It's
to look it up.
fantastic. So like, yeah, so he's very good at that in particular, but also like the yearning and all that. It's
The
like let a man
yearning.
yearn, honestly. Like, yeah.
Yes. You know what? He shouldn't like I didn't watch Jurassic Park World, whatever
Mm,
the one he was in. I did watch the
yeah.
CinemaSins for it though. And I was like, there wasn't any yearning.
Mm.
So
He did play
I
the
don't need to
clarinet in
watch it.
that. Another hidden
I did
skeleton. That
I
was
saw
like,
that.
okay,
Yeah, I
wow,
saw that
that's
they brought him
amazing.
in to play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that was really cool. Because he was like,
Yeah.
I hadn't done it in a while, and then he did fine. I'm
And
like,
he
yeah.
was like perfect. I was like, wow, okay. What do you not like? What can't you do? Like, leave some for the rest of us. Jeez.
Right? You know what? It's a good thing. It's a good thing he doesn't like us.
Yeah, right. Uh,
Women would be banging down his door, honestly.
the,
But now everyone's like, he's just so cute. We just love him and his
yeah,
slutty little glasses.
But
does a
Jonathan
great
Barrett,
job. Yeah.
I saw Jurassic World Dominion or whatever it's
Mm.
called. He's in that playing the clarinet. I have no memory of this.
Yeah. So,
No,
not in the
he
movie,
doesn't
in the
play it.
score.
He plays
So,
it in the score.
yeah, there's a solo that happens, I think, when his character meets a dinosaur for the first time. So
Hmm.
there's a clarinet solo, and I think he just rocked in on a rehearsal one day and was like, "Hey, can I play?" And they let him do the clarinet solo in this John Williams score, which is like,
Well, I
whoa,
think they asked him. He like told them that
yeah.
he had done it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play clarinet." And they were like, "Oh well, like, do you want to play?" And he was like, at first he was like, "No, no," mm-mm. And then they were like, "No, no,
Yeah.
no, do it, do it." And so then he got because I think he also played a little bit with like the ensemble as well for some
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
other stuff. But then they were like, "Okay, you do your solo
Yeah.
for
And he's like,
your
"What solo? I
character."
get a solo? What are you talking
Oh,
about?" Like,
yeah. So
he
he's
smashed
not
it.
playing it
I was
in the
like,
movie. He's in the score.
whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I saw that on social media. So
everyone who's ever seen Jurassic Park has at some point in their lives just hummed, da 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
just
da,
to
da,
themselves.
John
da.
Williams, the goat we love.
Um,
Hmm.
all right. Well, he had his own special solo. Yeah.
I wanted a
So,
Fiero solo. If they were going to add songs to the
oh,
show,
Right.
they
I
would.
love Dancing Through
I would have
Life, and I was
loved,
like, why not?
yeah, like something introspective, like because like we have a new song for Elphaba that is a little more introspective about her connecting back to the cause and the animals, and then something more introspective for Glinda with the girl in the bubble of her sort of reconciling her place in society and like what she's been programmed to do, and then what she feels like is the right choice for her to make in life. But I feel like a moment for that for Fiero would be nice, but also maybe if they're setting him up to be this quite literally brainless character later on, maybe they thought that would be too much. I don't know.
okay.
Well, I feel like because like his transition was like
Oh, yeah.
like certain that they were like,
Yeah.
nah, he doesn't need a song. You can just tell.
Yeah.
He's changed.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
changed man.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And there's some logistical questions I have with him being turned into the. I mean, Alphaba casts a spell that turns him into this, creature that can't be
Can't
subject to like
die.
the kind of
Yeah.
torture. Yeah, I guess that is going to be done to him by his now that he's a traitor, like they take him out of the Munchkin town and into cornfield, and but then they like hang him up, and Dorothy's already gone at that point, so it's kind of
Yeah, logistically, you have to not think about it because it's like, what are we doing? Like timeline wise, it's like I also view it as Wizard of Oz is like the Ozian propaganda version of the story of like this
right.
is what makes the wizard look good, even though it also doesn't completely make him look good at the end, but still, it's like sort of the Emerald City propaganda, like, oh, this nice young girl comes to town and like rids us of our witches and like but then so like I actually even saw a tweet about this where somebody was like, oh, I now that I've seen Wicked, I'm gonna go watch the Ops POV, which is the Wizard
Okay,
of Oz. but but yeah, so
for
like
sure.
you could view it through like a different lens where it's like same story told a different way where it's
Well,
like
you
the
don't,
details are not
yeah,
quite,
you
yeah.
don't see him and Dorothy in the same frame as far as I can, but don't they say in the dialogue that, a girl, a lion, Tin
Yes.
Woodman,
So
and the
he is
Scarecrow?
along the path. So he is a
No, he
scarecrow at that
is.
point. So like
I think that there's like brief moments where you see them like you don't see the face. You see
Yeah,
the
no, yeah.
scarecrow, but you don't see the face.
I was
But
Yeah,
when they're
looking.
like
Tin
in the
Man and
square
Lion.
talking
Yeah.
about killing Elphaba, the scarecrow's not there, and neither is Dorothy.
Yeah.
It's just the lion and the Tin Man.
Yeah, and there's a lot
Yeah.
that I missed, but they're intentionally keeping his appearance a secret
Hmm.
until the end reveal with the trapdoor and stuff. I thought that
Well, yeah,
was
because they even like bring the fabric, and they're like, "Oh, he's dead." Like she
Yeah, his
doesn't know that
outfit.
it worked. Yeah, she doesn't know that it worked yet.
And also, it's funny to revisit the Wizard of Oz afterwards because, like, you see the witch throwing fireballs at him, and it's like, oh, does she know that like that's not gonna do anything, and she's just doing this for fun to like be the aggressor? But like, but yeah, yeah, all these little details, like once you kind of go back and watch the Wizard of Oz and having seen what happened, how these characters come to be, I guess in Wicked, you're like, oh, and I also wonder, I'm like, did Bach and Fiyero talk to each other on the way? Like, like were they
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey, I went to school with you. Like, what's up?" Or
Oh
are they
no, apparently
completely they
Bach
don't
doesn't
remember a
have a.
thing?
I
Bach
don't
doesn't
think
have a
Bach has a
memory.
brain. He doesn't have
Yeah.
a brain. I don't think.
He doesn't have a heart or a brain.
They just switched. Sierra got to keep
Yeah.
everything. Bach
Yeah, in
has
a
nothing.
way. Yeah. It's
Well,
interesting.
I assumed that like she maybe erased Thero's memory, like that was,
I wonder. Yeah.
but then
I
he
know, but he
comes.
even says he's like, "Oh, you saved me." Blah 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 blah.
Because
I
I
would have
think by
died.
that point he does know what's going on, and then he's also like Glinda can never know, like you
Yeah.
know this. So
Yeah.
like he seems very with it by that point. So maybe proximity to Elphaba sort of like strengthens how much he's able to remember. I don't know. I'm just conjecturing, but who
Maybe
Yeah.
knows?
he was just playing dumb because he had acted
That
dumb
too.
when he
That's
back in
about
the
that
day.
could be it though too, because he's
He
trying
was just
to
playing stupid.
rebuild. Yeah, he's trying to work from the inside in a way similar to kind of Glinda, what she would have had. But
Hmm.
like, he's sort of like, yeah, he's like en route to be one of the witch hunters, but also secretly he's like, I'm gonna save her. I'm gonna find a way. But yeah,
Yeah, well, that's like too. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll go along with this girl who's trying to find
yeah,
the witch that I'm also trying to
yeah.
find.
I'm also trying to
No,
find her.
no, no reason,
So
for no reason,
yeah,
just to find
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I need a
So,
brain. Yeah.
yeah,
Comes up with that reason.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, sure.
yeah, I'm just so dumb.
I
Yeah.
We
mean,
must find her.
yeah, they did some scheming beforehand that all happens off
Yeah,
screen.
there's a
And
letter that was cut. So like he sends a letter to Elphaba, which we see her reading it, and then Glinda's like, "What's happened?" And then she's like, "Oh, we've seen his face for the last time." Apparently, there was supposed to be a close up as to what was on that letter, but we don't get to see it. So that was probably what was the plan, like being like, "Okay, so I'm a scarecrow, and I'm gonna come back here and find you after we fake your death and we'll get out of
Yeah,
here."
just act dead.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, yeah. Just go with the plan. Trust the process.
yeah,
Trust the process.
interesting. I mean, depiction kind of creepy. The burlap face. It's kind of
Oh, that was
yeah.
really well done too. I'm like, props to the makeup
Yeah.
department. Like all these practical makeup effects was just, but the thing is, like, it was very hard to see in the movie. Like, I think a lot of people would have thought it was CGI had they not known, like, no, this is like a real practical
It's
Well,
like
effect. So yeah.
a
the
face of application.
the burlap face. I feel like that would have had to be CGI just based on the way it looked. But I don't know. I guess I've only
No,
seen
they
it
did.
once,
I
It
so
think
was
they did
legit.
practical for all of them,
Yeah, it
except
was,
for
yeah.
other than Jeff Goldblum's de-aging.
No, that was a guy. That was a
Was
guy
that a guy?
that was a guy. He just looks like that.
Okay, I didn't
Everybody
like
thought he
it.
was CGI.
I was
Yeah.
like that.
No,
He just
because I
looked
saw him.
uncanny.
I saw
He
him
looked
on
so
Instagram.
uncanny.
He's just a dancer, and I don't,
Okay, I'll have to tell my
which
husband
maybe
because I
explains
thought it
it.
was
I don't know.
CGI. I was like,
No,
because I was like,
yeah,
it was like honestly kind of like Uncanny Valley. So I'm like,
yeah.
maybe it's like
I thought that too. I was
maybe
like,
it's like he looks
wait,
enough like him, but not
yeah.
enough like him that I was like, mm-mm,
There was
no,
something funky with
no.
that, and then I looked it up, and I was like, no, the guy just looks like that. That's
That's weird.
crazy.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
they just did some weird, funky de-aging. I was like, well, my thing too is like we all know who that was.
Oh yeah,
We're
we
not
knew from the
stupid.
very beginning.
You
His
didn't
voice
have to
is
show his
very
face.
recognizable.
Well, I'm like, if anyone was surprised by that, honestly, are you the scarecrow? I have questions.
Uh,
Because I'm like, I don't think that they needed to show him. Really, like we already knew that. Like maybe it's
yeah.
his like realization that it was him, but I'm like, we didn't need all that. Um, but yeah,
Although,
okay. Well,
yeah.
knowing that that's a real person makes me feel better because I was like that. I didn't like it. I was like that looks weird. I don't like that at all. But now
I
I have to
just
look this man up.
I mean, it was so brief. I just didn't really pay it any mind. Yeah, seeing Jeff Goldblum younger, and sometimes you do get like dead ringer people because he didn't have any dialogue in those scenes. But
Hmm.
it could have easily just been a digital double or deepfake or something. And I mean, but if you say that there's an actor who has that facial double quality that and he's posed on Instagram or whatever, then maybe they went that route, and that's kind of neat if so. And of course, you know, I was wondering if uh, that green potion he drinks is something that prolongs his life. Like, I guess it makes sense that he would look visibly younger when he conceived the Elphaba with Elphaba's mother. But I also thought, because he's so powerful, maybe he must have like perhaps an unnaturally extended life due to magic, or Madame Morrible gives him this potion or something that he drinks, the green stuff. I'm just speculating as to how that all works. And
Yeah, like does the magic
Well,
come from the elixir or like
yeah.
where
Or is it
maybe it's
just
because the
because they
elixir
like,
is an earthly thing and so maybe the
yeah.
earthly elements are what caused
But
this
how does he
magic
get
in
more?
Oz. Yeah, that's maybe he has a stock. I don't know. He brought a
Well,
bunch from
maybe,
his hot air balloon.
maybe because he's like a different kind of human
Mm,
and he drinks an elixir from there, it like does something because
that
he's not
too.
from
Yeah.
there. And so when he had a baby with a person from there and
Yeah.
he's drinking this like elixir, because there's magic
Yeah.
there. So he's drinking
But
this
Nesta
magic
Rose also
elixir.
has magic. So like
Well, yeah,
maybe
but
the
some of them
yeah.
have magic. A lot of people
Yeah.
have magic. That's why they have
Yeah.
shiz.
Yeah.
But like she has this like crazy magic because
Yeah.
she's like a combination of two different places.
right.
Mhm.
One magic, one not magic, and then him like I don't know, getting his like his debuff from his magic elixir that he's drinking. Because I'm like he's always drinking it, so I'm like he has to be getting it from there.
That could, yeah. Or just like some sort of like liquid courage. Who knows? I don't know.
Maybe he makes it himself. Maybe it's his own
He's an
special
apothecary.
little drinky drink.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, like they kind of play him as dumb, but like he's pretty good with the inventions. Like he invents like he makes the
Yeah.
bubble. He
He
makes really
gave
cool
me, and
stuff.
I thought this in part one too. He was very like a Walt Disney sort of figure with like, he has this whole like vision for Oz and he built this diorama. And then there's like in part two, you see more of these like sort of automatons and various things that he's built. And I was like, oh, they really are going the Walt Disney route with this. That's really fascinating. So like, yeah, that was something I noticed. And then of course, like once Elphaba has melted and the green bottle remains, and I really like with how they did this scene with Chistery because like that's a moment that I always look forward to in the musical, and I love Chistery. Like I'm Chistery, yeah, great character, but like we don't get to see a whole lot of him, but like and with him being CGI and stuff, like it's kind of hard to convey a lot of that, but like I really like that moment with him like speaking the words for the first time and like and it also like gives you hope in the story because like it kind of has an ending where you're like, oh gosh, like is anything gonna go right in this world ever again? But like you see that and then you see the animals, what they decide to do with the animals in the end in this version of the story too, of like them kind of being freed and accepted amongst the community and Glinda being a part of that
Waiting to
too,
come
of like
back, yeah.
yeah, of like being like I serve all of the people of Oz, not just the people, but the animals as well. And so like yeah, it gives you a glimmer of hope that like okay, maybe things are gonna be okay. And like um and yeah, yeah.
Pretty visual. The land, the wilderness outside of Oz.
Mm,
It that seems it's very surreal, kind of.
Sandman
yeah.
Yeah.
land.
Dune-esque.
That's what it reminded
Yeah.
me of with Sandman. So I
Mm,
was like,
I'm
seems very familiar.
there is presumably something on the other side of that. Otherwise, it's like you're just setting out to starve to death, or ultimately, you run out of provisions, water, it's
yeah.
walking into a desert.
You can maybe magic that, who knows?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I wondered. I'm like it's feasibly say on this other side of the world, it is like the normal human world. What are they
Maybe.
going to do when a
Mm,
scarecrow man and a green girl shows up?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be different.
They
That's for
have no
sure.
plan. They're just going where the wind takes
They said
them.
we're just leaving. We're just getting out of Dodge.
Bye.
Also, I looked it up. So it is CGI. It is a
Oh,
body double.
okay.
It is a body double with CGI on his face. And
Oh.
apparently everyone hates it. That's
Yeah.
why they were like, it was
Yeah.
just really
Because the guy
uncanny.
looked like that too, though, I thought. Like, I looked at a picture of him and I was like, no, he does look like that. But maybe they just
It was
added more
probably,
CGI.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
probably one of those things where it's like, oh, you look similar enough, but like let's make you look
Uh,
more like him. But
they
yeah,
just punched it
they have
up.
CGI on his
Mm.
face.
Jeez, they didn't need to do that. Did
They
not need
didn't.
to do that.
That's why I saw his face and I was like, no,
Mm.
no, we didn't need to do that. But I mean, whatever. It was a brief moment, but a moment that apparently no one
Yeah.
liked.
Just
Everyone had a problem with it.
the skin of Pharaoh, with the uh, I mean, you can make a pretty photoreal burlap texture for the scarecrow face or whatever. But I guess I'll yet to confirm how they did all that stuff. Unless you've seen like a process shot on social media of like
I
I
saw
don't think
stuff
yeah.
on
I saw
social
just a
media. It was
picture
like
of
a face
yeah.
thing,
Yeah,
like a
hours in a makeup chair is what it looked
sometimes
like.
yeah, like
Yeah.
face off level stuff.
Yeah. Lots of
sometimes they'll
layers.
use that as a reference and then just replace it with CG. But they'll do a lot of practical stuff just to get a reference. But
Well, I know with like
I found it
Elphaba.
creepy. Yeah, yeah, no. What
Oh, I
about
was gonna say with Elphaba, they were like she wanted to be green. She was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to be CGI'd. I want to
Like
be green.
her
So they made it
whole
work.
head too, like her scalp too, which was really cool because it made the hair look more believable as well. Like it looked like it was growing out of her scalp with her
Well,
scalp
she even
being
had fake
green.
ears.
Yeah, so like it's perfect. So like yeah, that I admire that commitment to the bit and also like yeah, she wanted to do that because the actresses on Broadway have to do that 8 times a week and she was like, "Well, I just, want to join the
I probably
Green
just
Girl legacy. Like it just
yeah.
makes sense for me to fully green up for that." And so, yeah, or greenify, I guess.
do you guys know what trypophobia is?
Yes, it's like
Trypophobia.
those
Yes. The holes, right?
yeah, yeah.
It
The
was
fear of holes.
the burlap skin was kind of doing that for me.
Oh geez,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
I
if
mean, honestly, I can see that.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's a
I looked it
little
up to see.
uh,
it looks uncomfortable.
Um,
Like I wouldn't want that on my face or near my face. Like
oh yeah,
no,
it's all practical effects is what it
I
says. So
would I
he
would
literally has all that on his face and head.
yeah, I might have to rule any like physical intimacy out after seeing that. Yeah.
Honestly, do not Google anything because we had questions and the internet has a lot of theories, okay?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, not to spoil the second book, which I don't know if they're going to turn it into a
I
movie, but they
I
do
know
have
what
a
happened.
child.
Mhm.
But like, I think that child was probably conceived pre-Scarecrow.
Well,
So,
that's my husband was like, I don't even understand why they needed to have the intimacy scene. And so I was like, well, spoilers in
well,
the second,
yeah,
but she has a kid. They have a kid together.
yeah,
And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. So they had to have
yeah,
at least one time
yeah, to justify
where
that.
something happened. But yeah, which
Kind of a
I meant to bring up earlier, the wedding. So
Yeah.
we
Oh,
breezed by
yes.
earlier, the wedding.
Uh-huh.
I liked the cinematography where they had, Glinda at the end of the aisle, Elphaba at the
Yeah.
end of the
That was
hall or
really
at the
cool.
room.
The
And
parallels.
also my one question though is that she shows up at night. I assumed was night. Glinda's getting ready, but by the time the wedding happens, it's daytime.
Yeah. I
I was like,
don't know.
was it like 5 o'clock in the morning?
Could have
And
been a
now it's
whole
daytime.
day affair. I don't know. Yeah.
Because they have like their wonderful time and they like ride
Yeah.
around on in their
Wonderful.
little
I
room.
really enjoyed what they did with Wonderful. Bringing
I did
Glinda into
too.
it was a smart choice because I think Elphaba is too smart to like be like
Hmm.
the wizard's gonna tell her come join our cause and because she's like no
She
I'm
needs to
here
be
to
coaxed by her
yeah,
friend.
she needed somebody there for like an emotional appeal. But also like I understand some people don't like that Glinda was added because they wanted Elphaba to have a moment with the wizard, which like a solo moment together, which sets up more of this sort of familial bond that they have. But honestly, I really did like Glinda being in it because like yeah, for that reason of like, we needed like Elphaba's too smart for this. Like she would be able to see right
Yes.
through this, but like if she gets swept up in like the whimsy and like the oh this
Hmm.
reminds me of like back when I
She's like,
was younger
let's
like
ride on the little
yeah,
swing.
which they
It's so
built.
much
That was a
fun.
real like
Yeah.
ride of sorts that they
They called
built.
it a roller
Was
coaster, is
yeah,
what they
that looked
call it.
really fun. I was like, "Ooh, that's cool." And like they brought
Yeah.
in, I think they had some additional music there. They had a allusion to Defying Gravity, but with Glinda singing
Hmm.
the part that Elphaba normally sings. I was like, that was a cool addition. I appreciated that. And yeah, I knew that Wonderful was gonna hit different with the way America is right now. I was like, oh yeah, those lyrics, those hit a
Oh,
local now.
oh,
oh,
wow, I love
it was
that.
very funny. He was like, "Oh, they wouldn't believe me anyway. They don't want to." it's
Yeah.
easier to just to
Mm,
believe everything I've told them. Duh.
It's
mhm.
I
what
was like,
people agree on. You know, it has nothing to do
Yeah.
yeah,
with reason
Yeah.
or fact or reason.
Which is
yeah.
an
That's
old
why.
lyric that they brought back. That was in like the pre-Broadway workshop and they had cut
Yeah,
it or something, but it was back. But yeah. Yeah,
that's
that was a
great.
cool number. And Wonderful for a lot of people is like a skip track. I'm like, it's never been a skip track for me. That is when
So
I
see,
always
I
lock in
liked
for
that one.
Wonderful.
No,
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
honestly,
They
I feel
brought the
like
dance
the
break
only
back,
ones I
which was
skip,
cool.
yeah, the only ones I ever skip when I listen is Something Bad. I don't love that song.
Understandable, but I like what
I
they
don't
did
love
with
it.
Something Bad. And
I know.
yeah.
I like. I was like, it makes sense for the story, but it's not my favorite to listen to in the car. And
Mm.
also the Family
Sentimental
Man,
Man.
Sentimental Man.
Yeah,
I skip
that's
that one. I'm
another
like, I don't
that's
care.
a skip track. It's so
Don't care.
short though that like I'm like I
I know.
can't even. It's like a minute long. I'm like I doesn't even justify me skipping it. Like I'll let this play out and then
Yeah, I'm
move
usually like,
on.
next.
Yeah, every musical has a couple skip tracks in it, and it's like it's usually when the old man starts to sing. That is your cue to be like, okay, and we move the needle.
Yeah. Well, that's what, and honestly though, like Glinda leaves, and I feel like that, like obviously at the end, Elphaba kind of gets snapped out of it, and she's like, "Well, I
Yeah,
have
I'm
things."
here on a mission, and you need to listen to me
Yes.
and comply, and that's
Yes.
yeah.
And then Glinda's like, "Okay, bet I'm gonna go finish getting ready. Bye."
Yeah, on the
And so
night of
she
her wedding
leaves.
too. I thought that was
I
very
know.
the Gelfie implications. I am still to this day, I ride for Gelfie, and I was like, oh, the rainbow. I was like, I see what you're doing here. You're doing this for the Gelfie shippers, and I appreciate it, but also
Well,
like it's a doomed ship. It's doomed Yuri. Like you can't.
I
It's not
saw a
gonna work
meme
out.
that it was like, "Oh, you mean I stole my ex-best friend's gay husband or gay fiance?" And it's like, Elphaba. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how intimate they're really, I mean, it is such that I mean, it was just so it's still so affecting. Like when they have the musical moment together, who cares if they're ultimately lovers who end up together? Like their friendship is ultimately the core of that relationship, and no less effective. However it's ultimately portrayed, and but ultimately just so tragic too that she's off going into the wilderness. I mean
well, yeah, they'll never see each other again.
yeah, you want
And they're like the first best friends I ever had.
Yeah.
yeah.
So sad.
So Gelfie, I mean, you know I guess that and what's the portmanteau with Fiero?
I guess you could say Fieraba. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
the two can
Yeah.
coexist, I suppose. Um,
I mean, yeah, especially
They
when a
they
character,
become a throuple.
yeah, when a character kind of goes both ways anyway, it's like, yeah, you can have multiple. Like, it's fine. Yeah.
You do whatever you want. You live your life. This is
Yeah.
Oz, okay?
yeah.
This is somewhere over the rainbow,
Hmm.
I
literally.
guess yeah.
Friends of Dorothy, Friends of Dorothy. Yep.
If you're strictly applying like Rule 34 to your shipping, then yeah, it's a little bit more of a conflict. But if you're just thinking like intimate friendships, and one of them just happens to be more physical in nature, then the two can definitely have their moments of strong resonance.
Well, that's like you're talking about, like physical friends, I suppose.
Versus
My
platonic
mom,
versus yeah.
yes. But like, well, even like friends that are like platonic, but like, just very touchy-feely. My
Right.
mom, over Thanksgiving, I was like, oh, I want to go see Wicked. And she's like, oh, I'm so ready for their like all their interviews and stuff, their press junkets to be done. She's like, because they're just all over each other. It's just weird. And blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm like, have you never had like friends like that? I'm like, I have friends like that. I was like, maybe
Yeah.
it's a theater
And
thing.
these are exactly. That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
it
like,
is.
maybe
At the end of
my
the
mom was
day,
not a theater kid. I'm like,
if
I
I
don't know,
was
man.
working on a show for over a year with the same people, with the same cast, and such a like intense, like especially where the sets were built specifically for us, the costumes were made for us, and like
Yes.
everything was catered, and like it was such a like one of a kind experience. I would never shut up about it. I would cry in every interview. I would be like, I would
Yeah.
cry at every rap party or what, like you know what I mean? Like
No, and that's like literally
I
in high
get it.
school. Every one act, every musical, and like, yeah, we were only spending, 6 months probably on each show, but at the end of it, you're bawling. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm never gonna sing again, even though we're
yeah,
probably gonna still be in school together
yeah,
for the
yeah.
next 2 years.
But like
But it
senior
feels like the
show
end.
was like, yeah, like going back to graduation for good. Like I was you know?
I
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
feels like it's over. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I don't
mm,
know. Like I'm like theater
Yeah.
people. I'm like maybe it's just a theater people thing because I'm like
yeah.
Has to
I've
be.
had friends like that. But my mom's
It's
like,
like
I've never
I
had a friend like
immediately
that. And I'm like,
got
I
it.
don't
I was
know.
like,
I've had friends who like hang all over me and I'm just like, yeah, that's my friend.
yeah,
That's my
yeah.
friend.
You guys have lived and breathed this a lot. For me, it's if this was a bit more distant, and I mean, do I really care about these characters, this property? Like, maybe part of the beauty of it was that like I don't care that much and am not
No, that's
overly
valid.
invested.
Yeah.
So like I can just sort of absorb it and not feel like pressured by any of it. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm here for this little thrill ride, and if it's great, it's great. If it's not, nothing lost. But I mean, yeah, as soon as that song at the end, and of course,
Mhm.
I was kind of softened up by Fiero. As long as you're mine, I love that
Mhm.
song, such a banger.
So
And
good.
And then
Yeah.
No Good Deed.
No Good Deed is the number. Like
yeah,
it's
It did. I
just
was like,
what she was
I was
doing
crying in that one too.
vocally.
I was like, girl, I'm feeling you.
I was
when
What if
just
he's
like,
dead?
yeah, just incredible. And like every Alphabet puts their own stamp on it. Like you can look up, there are compilation videos where you can see
Oh,
various
I like the
riffs.
Defying
Like,
Gravity ones.
yes, there's so many iconic videos, iconic alphabets throughout the years, what they were able to do, what they were able to get away with as well. Because like I think the music directors didn't let them always go above and beyond with the riffs.
Yeah.
Like I think Shoshana Bean has talked about this a lot, where she was like, I wanted to do more, but the music director kind of muzzled me. And so I like that Cynthia was able to like, okay, like, and they allowed her to do it as much as
Mhm.
she wanted as well, but it still services the song and the character, and it's like and it sounds effortless because like that's just how her voice makes
That's
everything
just how
sound
she
like it's
is.
just a walk in the park. I'm like unfair,
Well, and
unfair.
then like her and Ariana Grande, like
Mm.
their voices just
Their
meld so
blend
well
is so good.
together.
I saw a post right yesterday of like somebody who was doing the audio editing was looking at For Good, and the waveforms were like entirely in sync, like the vibratos were like spinning the same way, and like which is very rare. Like I feel like sometimes like when you are doing looking at levels and things and like trying to like audio engineer, like sometimes you don't get the best blend, but like that just shows like how in sync they were. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
very
pretty
in
incredible.
tune.
And like,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
go,
like they're on a different wavelength, I think. And that's why I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not surprised that they're like,
yeah.
best of
And
friends
then
in real life too. Like
yeah. And then Ariana, like this being her dream role too, like that hits a lot. Like I understand again why she's crying in every interview. I'm like, been
I
there
would be
before.
too.
I
I'm like,
know
I'm
that
crying for
feeling.
you.
Like,
I'm not even doing it.
yeah, it's a big deal to self-actualize something that you've been dreaming about since you were like 10 years old. Like for her, I think she had met Kristen Chenoweth backstage for, I think
Hmm.
it was Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. They had like an auction to be backstage with the cast member, and so she met Kristen and was like, I want to be just like you. And then Kristen was like, she was like, I felt the need to give her something, so I gifted her like a random bath shampoo thing that I had in my dressing room. And apparently she used this every day. She would like dip a little bit of her pinky finger in it as to not like use it all up so quickly. And she was like, this was a gift from the real Glinda. And so like, yeah,
Honestly, I wouldn't have
so
used it. I would have put it somewhere. I'm like, I'm not
yeah,
using it. I'm
right,
keeping it on
right.
forever.
Yeah. She wanted a little bit of the Glinda imbued into her. So she was like, if I use this, I'm just gonna use like the tiniest bit every single day, which I thought was like very sweet. And like so like it's very cool to see her live that out but the two of them actually have had chances to sing from Wicked, but weirdly enough, the opposite character's songs. So
Well,
like,
yeah, Ariana
yeah.
Grande originally was auditioning for Elphaba.
Yeah, she auditioned for both of them. She sang
Yeah.
The Wizard
But
and I
she
for
was like, oh,
like
I think I'm gonna get Elphaba. And then they were like,
yeah.
no, we want you to be Glinda. And she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she was surprised because she didn't think
Because
she'd be taken seriously for it and stuff. But yeah,
who did Amanda Seyfried? She
yeah.
auditioned for
Dove
Glinda. I
Cameron
saw
was
her
another
video.
Glinda. Yeah, there were a couple people in the
Dove Cameron, I
mix.
could see because she was
Yeah,
in Hairspray. I could
with
see
yeah,
that.
Kristen. Yeah, another
Although I
soprano. I
feel
feel
like
like
she's
yeah,
not quite as, I don't know. I feel like Ariana Grande was just perfect for it. And that
yeah.
was honestly, I will say, as someone who, theater, big part of my life, Wicked, a part of my life. I wasn't even like, oh, like I have to. Oh, I had to see it. But
Mhm.
my like main concern when they like announced they were doing it, and I was like, I swear to God, if they mess this up, and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, Ariana Grande, and I was like, okay, like I know she was an actress
Hmm.
before, and I know she can sing, but like, can she sing like that? And so
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
thing was I was going in like honestly like, ooh, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. And then so I think it was like honestly kind of nice because I was pleasantly surprised. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no,
Yeah.
it's actually amazing. She was
Yeah.
made for this role. She is like a Glinda now. She is
Oh,
imbued
yeah.
with the
Hmm.
spirit. And so I
Exactly.
like
Yeah. It's so
so and
weird because she's so recognizable just as a celebrity and pop star,
mhm.
but like in that role, she is no like I there is no distance between her portrayal and Kristen Chenoweth for me at
Mm,
all. There's
Yeah.
a bit more of an obvious difference between Erivo and Menzel. I mean, but that's also, uh, I guess, something you can appreciate the fact that sure, one of the main characters is sort of like a one for one with the
mm.
original portrayal, and then the other they want to do something different, which was also probably a good idea that they not try to just rehash the entirely same thing in both instances.
Well, and honestly, the way that Cynthia Erivo sings, she has a much better blend. Like I
Yeah.
love Idina Menzel, but she has a much better blend between like belting, singing high, singing low.
Yes.
Whereas
The
Idina
way she
Menzel
transitions
is kind of,
registers is really
hmm
like skilled. She has a very like healthy sounding voice as well. Not to say that Dina
yes.
doesn't, but a role like Elphaba will mess your voice up. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
very,
Well, and like
yeah. Like
I've
eight
heard,
times
like
a
I've
week.
watched the
Like, oof.
videos. Yeah, I've watched the
Yeah.
videos, and there's some where she's like kind of scream belting at
It's
times. Idina Menzel
hard.
is, and
Like,
yeah, and
I don't
like
blame them when that's score like 8 times a week. Like, yeah, that's you got to do what you got to do. But it's like, yeah. So,
yeah.
and then I know a lot of the singing here was done live, and like, some of
hmm
it they used literally like the first take. So it's like, yeah. So like, I like that they didn't have to exert themselves too much, and like they were able
Yeah.
to use their natural voice, but also like, experiment and play around with it a little bit. Like they added showcases for like Cynthia was able to do some extra riffs and things, and then Ariana, like they had her
hmm
opting up a lot, and she does the famous Megan Hilty opt up in Thank Goodness, which I was so excited to see. I was like, you've done your homework, like that, because Megan Hilty is Thank Goodness is like the Thank Goodness to me. Like I love the originals, of course, but like some of the replacements that have come in, I was like, oh, like you are like for this
That's it.
particular number, you're the definitive one. Like yeah, so like acting wise and also vocally, I was like, I love that she drew inspiration from Megan Hilty for that. But
It is interesting, yeah, mechanically. You're talking about Idina Menzel's, and she's very much like a head voice kind of oriented
hmm
singer,
chest
right?
voice more
Or
so.
chest.
Yeah, chest
Yes.
voice, belty belter.
There's
Yeah,
something
Yeah.
about
Well, and
though
that, oh, go
it
ahead.
is maybe more demanding or potentially
it
more
totally
taxing on the
is.
body. Okay,
And it
Yes.
interesting.
shouldn't
It
be
can
a
like,
role that
it's
is eight
taxing
times a
on the
week.
vocal cords.
It
Well,
really
and that
is.
too. Well, even like Let It Go. She
Yeah,
even said, she was like, I
she
can't
brings
always
it
sing
down.
Let It
Yeah,
Go
because
because
it
it's
was,
that's a hard
yeah,
thing to sing, especially like in that register, especially if you're just straight belting.
yeah.
And you see, I think with the younger generation, which I say younger generation, they're our age, but people in Broadway now, they usually have a bit healthier of a mix, I feel like, in their
Mhm.
singing types. Where back in the day it was a lot of belting,
Yeah,
a
they were just
lot of
like scream to the
belting.
back of the house, like
Yeah, and
sprouting more
it can
so.
really
Yeah.
like it can really tear up your vocal cords.
Yeah. And now
And
there's a lot
so,
of like they get like SLPs and stuff like
oh
on
yeah.
staff with so like people
And they're
there are
doing
better
treatments
resources for
and stuff
that.
all the time. Like
Yes.
yeah,
And also they're being
they take
better.
this,
The Broadway schedule is rough. Like I still think
yeah.
Elphaba is a role that they should have an alternate. Like if Christine Daae can do 6 shows a week, like I think Elphaba should also be a 6 show a week role and have an alternate do this other 2 shows because that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like to sing that 8 times a week, like I don't know how they do it, but like
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, I
it's
know they have
so
understudies because we had when
yes.
I was in school, my I don't know how my director knew like the craziest people,
Ooh.
and one of our teachers, her niece was the understudy for Glinda, and her and some
Whoa.
other guy, I don't remember what he did something too, but they came and we did a workshop, like
Wow. Oh, that's
the theater
cool.
kids, yeah, we got to do a workshop with them, and then basically we all got to audition a song, and they picked people to do a
Ooh.
showcase at the end of the like for like I guess like a paid show basically with
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And she actually performed, I think she performed Popular um
Oh.
for us. And I was like, this is like the most amazing thing I've ever done in
Yeah.
my life. So I'm surprised that they're not like utilizing understudies. I mean, I guess if you show up and you're like, hey, my voice is shot, I can't do it, they're gonna throw them on there, but like
Yeah, they've
it
got
really would make more sense to
standbys. They
alternate.
have
Yeah.
they have a standby and then they have an understudy, but they don't have an alternate. but I feel like an alternate would be the way to go. But yeah, yeah. So
That would make
like
the most sense.
when this I was trying to think because I was looking forward to when the soundtrack was going to come out for this, and it came out pretty immediate, and I've been listening
Yeah,
to
I'm
it,
like
and I was
I've already been
now I'm
like
waiting
I'm
for
on
the
my wish
score
list.
because I'm like, yeah, there were certain numbers that I was like, I really need to know what this sounds like. But yeah, I really it's interesting to me that they didn't put the finale on the soundtrack. They made it like its own track. So like that made people think they were like, oh, is the finale not in it? I'm like, no, trust. Like, especially with like Ariana being the obsessed Wicked fan that she is, like she wouldn't let that slide. So
Yeah,
like I'm
no.
glad that the finale's in there, but like it's like a bonus track of sorts. I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited to hear yeah, the score because they added more to the score too.
Mhm.
John Powell did the film score specifically with also consultation, I guess, with Stephen Schwartz. And some of this, yeah, the score from the Broadway is in there, but also imbued in the Broadway score, you can hear some, especially more so in part two, you can hear some allusions to Wizard of Oz, like with the cyclone music, the Unlimited theme being the first notes of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Also, something that I noticed that I didn't realize because we didn't know this song yet, but in part one, with the very beginning, with No One Mourns the Wicked, they have an extended musical segment that isn't in the Broadway. And there's a moment where you hear da 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 da, which is the same melody as No Place Like Home, like which is a song that we didn't know yet until
Yeah.
this new one. So I was like, oh, okay, they were like priming our ears to get ready for this new song, which I quite enjoyed. I liked No
Yeah,
Place Like
I like
Home.
the new
Yeah,
songs. I thought that they
they're
were
growing on me. But
yeah,
yeah.
I like them. And well, and that's something I watched the chick. I don't remember what she was. Probably one of the producers, stage director person. She was saying that, of course, they did these two films simultaneously,
Yes.
and she said that the first ones they filmed, she said we did Popular, and then we did
Hmm.
Girl in the Bubble,
Yeah,
and she was
immediately.
like, yeah, and so she was like, basically, we like kind of did them back to back, so it's like you're getting these two different stories, and she was talking about basically like having to film that because it's going in
Mhm.
and out of the mirrors, and she was like, yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
really
I
trying
just
not to
watched
get
that
caught
video
in the
as well.
mirror.
They were
Yeah.
inspired by Contact and like with the mirror
Hmm.
scene. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I thought I was like, that's really interesting that they were like just doing all of this all at one time, everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh. Hey. Yeah.
You just show up and you're like, which Glinda am I being today? Sad
Yep.
Glinda or
All
fun
right.
Glinda?
Yeah.
Which one? Well,
Yeah.
I guess I would probably with Cynthia Erivo. It's like, okay, which hair and makeup are we doing today? All
Oh
right, that
yeah.
determines what
Is
scenes we're
the hair
doing.
in a
Because like
braid? Is
I,
it down?
her
Yeah.
hair looked good. Her hair looked good, which
The
I
hair
see
looked
so
really
many
good.
reels where they're like I want Elphaba's braider. Where's she at?
Yeah.
And
Is it
it's like
the Dulce
no, she's
Bear?
like Elpha. Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
Elphaba going to get her hair braided, and she's like, yes, I want the box braids.
And the
I want the micro
nails.
braids.
Yeah. She has a whole like glam squad in Oz somewhere. I don't
Well, you
know.
know what it is? It's magic.
Yeah. That it's
That's
gotta
what it is.
be.
That's
Yeah.
her true magic. She's a cosmetologist.
She can make a look just stun appear
She said,
immediately.
my magic is serving. Thank you.
Yeah. She does it well. She wears it well.
I thought maybe the wand had some actual magic to it or something. I mean,
Oh,
because like,
Glinda's.
well,
Yeah.
well, because like the slippers magically transferring from Nessa, in the original
Oh.
movie, the Wicked Witch of the East's feet. I thought that was just something Glinda did using her witch powers. But maybe that was something that just happened automatically because the slippers were enchanted.
Oh.
Unless Glinda was able to use like a magic imbued in the wand or something, because it would be kind of freaky if she just pulled the slippers off of the feet sticking out, and we're
Well,
like, "Here,
the
Dorothy."
feet,
Whoa.
maybe the
The
feet
feet
rolled
like
up, and then she was like,
shriveling.
"Oh no, the shoes are there. I guess you can have them.
Oh, yeah, while they're here, yours for
Why
the
are you
taking.
barefoot, weirdo?"
I
I
yeah.
like that she doesn't call them by their right names.
Dodo.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dodo. Well, and
Uh,
it's so funny because it always, anytime, like my husband, he'll be, like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that for you," and I go, "Oh, Vic, you would do that?" And so I love that she just keeps it a
yeah, it's
theme
a
that she doesn't
callback
know
to that.
anyone's name
She's like,
who is not
I
important to
in one
her.
ear, out the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
the the Ozian phrase, the verbiage.
Oh, yes.
I love that. She's
Obsessulated.
not the only one. Like everyone obsessulated. But yeah, there was like one that got a real big laugh when they were in Oz's his little well, his palace.
Oh, shiz. That was good. I was
there's
Oh no,
like,
the shiz when she shows up and she's like shiz, and I was like, oh, see,
and then just a clock tick.
would be-
That they use that a lot in this one. Which
dude, they
it's in
clock ticked.
They clock
They
tick
didn't.
all
Did
over
they
the
say
place.
it at all in the first one?
Maybe once, I think.
Okay, because I'm like, I
Maybe.
feel like they said it 5
They said it
million
at
times
least
in the
4
second one.
times, I think.
I've seen a lot of things, like reels making fun of that. They're like, oh, and a clock tick, and then a clock tick, and a clock tick, oh, and a
Yeah.
clock tick.
I know actually on stage they say wait just a tick-tock at one point, but I think they maybe
Oh.
didn't use that because
Maybe they didn't do TikTok.
yeah,
because
they
of
were like
that.
that would have felt really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
think
my
that-
husband was saying like English slang, they'll be like, oh, in a tick. And he was
Mm.
like, oh, I wish they would have just said in a tick, because then it'd be like, oh, a nod to English people.
Yeah. And that was, a nod to the Clock of the Time Dragon, which they only very vaguely mention at the top of part 1. And if you see the show, it's also only mentioned at the top of part 1, but you quite literally see the Clock of the Time
Yeah.
Dragon throughout the entire thing. It's like perched at the top of the proscenium. It has a greater significance in the books. Elphaba is born in the Tower of the Clock of the Dragon, I think in the books, if I remember, or she's conceived in it, something like that. There's some things happening in the Tower of the Clock of the
There's
Dragon,
some
but
towers and some
it's-
time clocks and things.
yeah, yeah. So that's where the whole clock tick and everything comes from.
I
But
think
like,
TikTok is a
it's
character.
also the name. Yes, it's a character as well. Yes.
Yeah. And that Return to
I think it's like
Oz,
Return to-
Oz
yes,
is
yes.
in that. Yeah. Wow, interesting.
That movie was terrifying. Oh my
Um,
God.
This character in the original fiction, like his name is spelled TIKTOK.
Yes. Like the app. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that
Um,
something? Those books, there's another thing. I would love to see all of the original Oz books given more of an adaptation. Like you don't get to see a lot with like Ozma of Oz, or like there's a ton of the original L. Frank Baum books, and like really the
Oh,
only one
there's
that
so
gets
much.
yeah, the only one that has much of an adaptation is like really the first one, but and maybe a couple of but like there's a lot that you could do there. So I was like, I would like to see if
My
if
Nana
yeah.
My Nana had the original books, and so he has like the China Girl,
Yes,
which I
yeah.
have seen like little like spin-off, like little
Uh-huh.
like little side movie things where it has like the China Girl and like the
Mhm.
different like side characters. Because like I read those books when I was young because she had them,
Yeah,
and so I was like, oh
cool.
yeah, cool, Wizard of Oz, cool.
Yeah.
And so I read, and I was like, who are all these characters? These are not in
It's
Wizard of
funky.
Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Well, oh,
original books are, well, some of them at least are in the public domain, and the
There's an
film,
opportunity there.
well, the film, I think, and this was a correction we never made on that first episode we did on Wicked. It was released by MGM back in the day. Warner Brothers actually purchased the entire MGM
Mm.
library at one point, so those rights
Yeah.
are now held by Warner Brothers.
Yes, I
Um,
went to the Warner Brothers tour this summer when I was in LA, and I did see some like Wizard of Oz things there. So that I was wondering about like the rights thing there. And so yeah,
this is
that
a
confirmed it to
Universal.
me.
Yeah.
well, that
Yeah.
makes sense because they're at Universal. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Well-
Yeah, the characters. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Universal
love.
is partnered with Warner Brothers on certain things for the theme park. It's true. But there are certain things that Universal would have to get clearance
Yeah.
from
'Cause
Warner
like
Brothers.
Disney had MGM for a short time back when MGM Studios was a thing. The Great Movie Ride had a whole Wizard of Oz section. And so like they were able to do that, which I'm sure Disney is just kicking themselves that they didn't get these Wicked rights sooner. Because I mean, honestly, Universal got them before the musical did. Like there was a plan to make a Wicked movie with Demi Moore as Elphaba before the musical was ever a thing. So like, yeah.
Someone would have sang for her.
Yeah, no, there were no music to be sung at that point. So like it was going to
Because
be
she
a
was
straight
the
adaptation
she was
of the
the voice
book.
of Esmeralda.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but she didn't sing.
And-
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She didn't sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
so-
looked it up. Sorry, the copyright for the Ruby Red Slippers
Ooh.
is 95 years, so it expires in 2034.
Oh.
Okay, so it's coming up, I
But
guess. I don't know.
the Silver Slippers from L. Frank Baum's
Yeah.
book has been in the public domain for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Disney has done Oz adaptations, and it's like
Mhm.
as long as you're doing something that isn't like totally cribbing from the 1939, film. You can kind of do your own spin on the Oz universe.
Oh,
Um,
The
yeah,
Great and Powerful Oz. Did you guys see that one?
Yes, I didn't see it,
the
With
but I
James
know
Mila
Disney
Kunis?
Franco.
did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Who did that one?
that was Disney.
That was
Hmm.
Disney? Okay.
That was,
That's why I
yeah.
was
So
like, I do
was
remember that one. And they're like they kind of go more into like the witches and like how they're
Yeah,
connected, I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, yeah.
Return to
Hmm.
Oz was
Hmm.
Disney as
That was
well,
also Disney, yeah. Hmm.
and Once Upon a Time, the Oz
Yeah, they're in there
bits in
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, well, there, I saw in when the Cowardly Lion pops up in No Place Like Home, the music that is playing while he's like speaking is from the song Home from The Wiz.
Yes, it really reminded me of Home from the Wiz. Like the last
Yeah.
lines, like home, is exactly the same. And
Hmm.
it's, yeah,
It was
the
like
whole
a
thing.
they
I
included
love
that
the
as a little
Wiz.
nod.
That would be,
Honestly, I
yeah.
like The Wiz, but there some of the characters, I'm like, those are nightmare fuel.
It's freaky.
But
That's
the way
another.
that they look, I'm like, I feel like if I
Oz
showed
is
that to my kids,
scary.
they'd be like,
Oz is very scary. Like there, I mean, between Return to Oz and The Wiz, like you've got like the Wheelers in Return to Oz that are like absolutely terrifying. You have like Eveline and The Wiz. There's some freaky stuff going on. Like, yeah.
I've never seen either The Wiz or
Oh, The
Return to
Wiz is a
you
Oz.
good
gotta,
one.
yeah, that's
You
your
gotta
homework.
get
You
on
gotta go
that.
watch The Wiz. How are you gonna
Mhm.
move on down the road if you
Yeah.
haven't seen The
Yeah.
Wiz?
Well, and
Great
Return to the
music.
Oz,
Mm.
that's
Mhm.
George, a Lucasfilm production, I think, or George Lucas has
Yeah,
had
I
some
think is
involvement.
it. I'm trying to remember who the girl was. That Fruza Balk? I can't remember if that
Yep,
was
yep.
her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I guess like possibly a Lucasfilm and Disney co-production, I believe,
I
unless
think
it
so.
was just
Yeah.
Lucas who maybe was credited as a producer, and he also recommended the director Walter Murch, who had
Mm.
done like sound effects for Lucas's previous films and stuff. So he was pretty involved in that. I have a poster at home with like all of the Lucasfilm Limited releases
Ah, oh, cool.
for the first 50 years of its existence. So like THX 1138 all the way up
Mhm.
until I think the most recent thing on there was like Star Wars The Bad Batch
Oh, wow.
cartoon
Okay.
series. So yeah,
Oh,
kind of
wild.
cool
Yeah.
poster with just a bunch of like Labyrinth is on there.
Ah, nice.
All the Strange Magic is
Oh,
on.
yeah. Hmm.
And I feel like Return to Oz is on, but it's interesting because like they use posters from all the various like international releases. So there's some they use more familiar like American, domestic poster, but then for others it's this crazy,
Less recognizable.
yeah,
Yeah.
international foreign language poster. So it's cool they have such a variety. But yeah, Return to Oz, it's definitely on my to list of shame.
Nightmare fuel,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Well, no,
Oof.
I did not realize that was. I didn't realize that the girl was Fruza Balk at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. I've seen it, and you said that, and I was like, "Is she for real?" So I had to go look it up.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, I guess looking at her and knowing what she looks like as an adult, I'm like, "Oh, that does make sense. She does look
Yeah.
like her." But I had no idea. That's wild.
Mhm.
Because of course I know her from like The Craft and
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy and all that.
I did recently see that.
Mhm.
Um,
Which one, The Craft or
the
Waterboy?
the the, the craft.
Oh yeah, The
Or the
Craft is
worst
great.
witch. That's another.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, yeah, we'll wrap this up. I mean, we had a much longer, livelier discussion than I was anticipating. So,
hey, there
well,
we go.
thanks
Well,
for
hold on, but
everyone.
I need to know y'all's
Yeah.
theories
Mm.
though about the
Oh,
end.
about the
What are the
end.
theories? The theories.
So,
What's your
yeah,
theory?
let's get into it. So, like, does Glinda know, slash, does she have powers? That's kind of the conversation. And it's
Yeah.
like, I think Elphaba is sort of sending her a message from the beyond, being like, things are gonna be okay, but like, also you need to stay with the like, you don't go
Stay there.
looking for me. Like, it's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. Like, so, like, but also, I mean, she gives her the Grimoire and is like, oh, I can't read this. Well, you need to learn now. So I
And she's
think
like, figure it
Glinda's
out.
like, yeah, Glinda's sort of trying to harness this power that she doesn't really know if she's capable of, but like Elphaba's like, I can trust you with this. Like, so yeah, there is something there. Cause like, yeah, I don't know if she knows that Elphaba is alive and well, but I think she thinks that like things are gonna be okay if like Elphaba sending her a message, whether she's alive or not, like something has been sent to
I
her. And
yeah,
so,
I think I
yeah.
called it the grimoire earlier. That's
Oh,
something else,
yeah.
Oh
right?
yeah.
The
Well,
That's like
no,
a
grimoire.
you said
general
the
term for it.
grimoire, and yeah, I mean it is a
Yeah. It
grimoire. It's
is.
but they
Yeah.
call it the
Yeah.
Grimmery.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Well,
I
because
mean,
oh no, they call it the grimoire in Scarlet Witch. That's what they call it, the
Oh, okay.
mm,
grimoire.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I was like, it was very reminiscent of that when she's like sitting there
Ah,
cross legs,
yes.
floating,
Hmm.
doing the stuff in the book.
Magical
Um,
tomes.
yeah, and
Similar.
if
Yeah.
Glinda has access to that, I mean, maybe she can eventually figure it out and practice magic and all that stuff. And because Elphaba used it, and her essence is probably imbued somehow in it, so she would at least think that Elphaba's spirit is, you know, somewhere lurking within this grimory. You know, if not Elphaba, actually still being alive somewhere because she used magic to fake her death or whatever.
Mhm.
But well, there was the trap door though, so
Mhm.
she didn't even need magic, right? I
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's
she probably used magic to make the melting effect look convincing,
mhm.
but then
Sure.
also had the
Yeah.
trapdoor as a place to just go,
Hmm.
using her corporeal self to hide away. Yeah, so a mix of both and.
Hmm.
But yeah, the Grimory, is going to serve this, the well, I guess there are more books, so I guess you can find out officially, but
Yeah.
giving
The story
Glinda access.
diverges a bit in the
Yeah, it
books.
gets kind of it.
Yeah.
I feel like if they tried to do more of the book, it would.
There are
I feel like that would be
prequels
hard.
that are being
Yeah,
made. There's,
I did
yeah.
hear that they were talking about doing that. But yeah, well,
Uh-huh.
that's basically we had the same theories though. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, either she knows that was like a sign to her that like, hey, things are chill, it's fine,
Yeah.
like be cool, or she has harnessed or unlocked a power that she
Mhm.
didn't know she had. Like maybe Elphaba gave her a little bit of her power. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And you see the rainbow again, which kind of implies that
Yeah.
too, because like that's sort of kind of a Glinda power indicator in a way, but yeah.
Well, that's why I was like, is it like that's I was like, is it a power or is it just one of those things that's like,
Coincidence?
like a good
Yeah.
luck thing. It's like, oh, I saw a
Yeah.
rainbow. It's like 11:11. Like, oh, 11.
A sign.
Like,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, like a sign that everything's
Hmm.
okay, especially because she sings and then the book like gets all crazy and she's
Yeah.
like,
That
oh.
was
So
really
I'm like,
cool.
yeah, so I'm like, okay, so is she have powers or is that
Yeah.
like them connecting to
Yeah,
let
because
them
in
know
the
they're fine?
show on stage, it looks very much like Glinda does not know that, but like she is trying her best to like, you know,
Move
fulfill this
on.
sort of move on and also like learn out of the Grimory and stuff because like she's kind of teamed up with Chistery and she like holds the Grimory with her as she floats away in the bubble. So like it's implied that she's going to try her best, but she doesn't know. Like she can't ever know that Glinda and Fiyero have made it out. And but yeah, that's a question that is haunting a lot of people. And also it's like the implications of which, because I've been hearing murmurings of potential spin-offs because these films have, done remarkably well and
Oh yeah.
the public are, yearning for more of this version
Ah,
of this world. And I depending on what direction they go in, like I'm curious how they would approach a spin-off. Would it be a musical spin-off? Would Steven Schwartz be involved? How much of the original cast would be involved? What characters would it focus on? Because it probably
I feel
wouldn't
like it
be,
has to. Like you can't
yeah,
just like bring new characters, make new characters. No, I don't want that.
yeah.
That's not what I'm
Hmm.
here for. Like
They
I would
could
want that.
do,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe people who are like not familiar with it and they only know the movies, maybe they'd be into that. But I'm like,
I wonder, yeah.
you can't
It's,
replace them now. Mm-mm.
mhm.
I don't want to necessarily like this was just obviously a complete story that existed
Yeah.
for a long time
Yeah.
before, and well, I guess if there are other books that explore this world, yeah, you could do something with that. But for now,
I'm like
like,
maybe, but the
yeah,
books are so dark that I'm like, I
Yeah.
feel like Glinda would have to like take a turn or
uh,
Yeah.
like get taken over or something for
Glinda's
those
like
books
not
to come into
really in the
play.
books after that point too.
Yeah,
Like you don't
that's
really
what, yeah.
hear much from her. Like it's because the second book is Son of a Witch, which is about
Hmm.
Lear, which is the son of Elphaba and Fiyero. And then the third book is A Lion Among Men, which focuses on the Cowardly Lion. And the fourth book, which I haven't read, and I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but it's called Out of Oz. And I imagine
Mhm.
there's people that are
Like, do they
leaving
get out
Oz. I don't know who
Yeah.
or what.
or
Um,
where?
where, yeah. The one thing though, I forgot to mention this earlier. We find out who was on the horse. I was like, oh, that reveal, I was gagged. Oh my God. Because like, so at the beginning of the film in part one, we see somebody on a horse, like leaving Kiamako or coming to Kiamako, the
Oh,
castle.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we
Hmm.
had all these theories of like who's on the horse. I thought maybe it was Elphaba. Some people thought it
I
was
assumed it
Fiyero.
was probably
Yeah,
Elphaba.
it was Glinda. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that
Well,
that
I
did
love
very
that
well.
she like moves all her stuff and she just has one
Yeah.
pair of old black
What's on
boots.
the, yeah, the riding
Well, I was
boots
like,
and the
she must have
shawl
gotten. Well, I was like, she must have gotten all the black stuff from her grandma who gave her that.
from Nanny. Yeah.
She was like, "Oh yes, my one article of clothing that is not pink." Oh! But I did love her dress. That was
Yeah.
basically the original Glinda dress,
Oh,
just with
yeah.
more beads and stuff. It's
Stunning.
basically the
Yeah.
same as Hoofier, and then she has
Uh-huh.
beads and stuff on it.
The
I thought that
costuming in
was a
this
good
was
like
just,
tie-in.
mm,
I know,
yeah.
right? I'm over here. Believe me, I'm chomping at the bit to cosplay Glinda. I definitely.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
same.
going
It
out.
hasn't happened yet, and I was hoping it would have happened for me in between these two, but like, never say never. Like, at some point,
I
yeah.
know. Well, I want to learn how to make the wig because that
Oh.
is my current endeavor. Is I made our wigs for Halloween, so that my current
Oh,
endeavor
yeah.
is making my own wig because that would be
Yes.
cheaper than anything else. I'm like, I'll
Smart,
probably buy the
smart.
dress though. I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
I'm not good in that
All
way.
that
But
beading. Ooh.
oh gosh, no. I'm like, no, I'll buy that. I'll buy it, maybe add to it. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's about it. But I was like, I want to make the wig because wanted to do that for Halloween. I wanted to be
Yeah. Oh,
Fiero and
cool.
Glinda. And then
Oh.
I was like, then we did Zelda, and I was like, fine, that's fine. But I'm like, I'm chomping at the bit. I want to be Glinda. I want to go to a con. I want to be obnoxious.
Please. Oh my
That
gosh,
is
that
what I
would be
want
fun. Hmm.
desperately. And I
Um,
keep seeing like the ones from Universal, and I'm like, yes, 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 this is what I
They look
want.
so stunning.
I
Yeah.
love them.
Hmm.
well, I've got to cap it off here, but yeah, I'm certainly you know not going to speculate any further on like a Wicked Part 3, other than like maybe these actors I think might be interested in revisiting these roles in kind of the distant future, sort of like a legacy sequel type of thing. I feel like that's maybe the only hope, because you often just see with something that is just this solid of a story, a complete story, it just runs out of idea. They run out of ideas and general interest. Once you realize that they're just kind of trying to do something to put something out for a commercial reason. So I think Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are probably hanging up the wand and the hat for the foreseeable future. And but they did excellent. They had an excellent outing as these characters, and maybe we'll see some future, like you know maybe some Super Bowl commercial type situations
Yeah.
of them, like
Yeah.
reuniting for old time's sake. I don't know. But anyways, I think we are about ready to wrap up our discussion on Wicked for good,
Mm.
and
Yeah, for good, actually.
Yeah.
for good, and move on to the next thing, which I think Zootopia. I'm down
Ah,
to
yeah.
talk some of that
Haven't seen it yet.
near
Looking
future.
forward to
I
it.
haven't
Yeah, I
either.
haven't either. So I don't know. This is great. Thank you so much, Laura and Bridget. You just so cool to be able to uh, have you guys on, and you see your enthusiasm and love for Wicked. So I'll let you both have some things for final say, and then we'll wrap it up here. But thanks for listening to the Thodcast conversations about animation. I've been Philip. Yeah, Laura, any final thoughts and any social media if you care to share?
Yeah, I think, this was a highly anticipated thing, especially for us theater people of like Wicked movie and like seeing it kind of come to an end is like kind of sad in a way. It's like, oh my God, like this end of an era. But like I think it's the completion of it is really it solidified it really well. And like I am an Act One girly at heart, so like Act One I think I liked a little bit more just because it just has a lot of the stuff that I most look forward to in Wicked. But Act Two I very much enjoyed, and it it hit me emotionally as well. So I was very much ruined by the end and was sobbing. So yes, I'm excited to potentially watch these two back to back at some point and see what I think of it then. Because I did watch part one, I think the day before watching part two, like just as a revisit, which was nice. And I think watching it as a continuous thing would be interesting to explore. So eventually I'll try that, but if I'm not too wicketed out at that point, but I don't think I ever will be. But yeah, as far as social media goes, you can find me at Lara Call on most places. The show I did this summer is actually nominated for a Broadway World Award. If you'd like to vote for me, the link is in my bio on my Instagram. But yeah, we'd appreciate that.
All right. Bridget.
Yeah, it was just really great to see this thing that I've like obviously known about since high school finally come to fruition. Because of course I've never been to New York. I haven't been to Broadway. So I see everything online. So it was nice to like see something happen. Obviously they changed the story in a way that it all makes sense in the end. So it's like it does kind of feel like a final story. Like it is
Hmm.
at least for that ending, that is the ending of the story. However, though, I did have to geek out at the end when they recreate the famous Broadway poster in that final
Yes,
last
The
clip.
Whisper.
Mm.
Oh,
Yes, and
so
I was
good.
and it was so funny because they had teased like they had not actually done that. Like they purposely held it back.
Hmm.
They did not want it used in promotional stuff. So everyone was like, "Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Are they going to remake that? They have to. It's the whole point." And so
Yeah.
when they did it at the end, like everyone in the theater was like, "Ah!" Because
Iconic.
you
Yeah.
Yeah,
have to.
even like the what do they call that? Focus test screenings and things like that, I think
Hmm.
probably did not include that scene. It was like kept
Mm-mm.
super secret, I
Yeah,
read. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was like they were very much against. They were like, "We do not want it used in promotional. We want it to be a surprise.
And it was a
So
great
don't tell
surprise.
anyone." And it
Yeah.
was. So yeah, it was just all around good time. It was obviously heart wrenching, as they all are for some reason. For me, the older I get, the more heart wrenching they all get, I suppose. Um, what can I say? I'm just a sentimental woman. Um, so yeah, but yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram. It's Bridget, Bridge with a T, 5246.
Sweet. Yeah, thank you so much. Thodcast.com at Thodcast on socials. And I'm super lazy and inactive when it comes to social media. So it's like I don't know, I like chatting, but even this wears me out too. So I'm glad I was able to hang in there for the couple hours, and it's been a good therapy session, this whole enterprise, going to see this movie that I was afraid would feel a bit too much like homework, but 2 hours and 17 minutes, including credits, not bad. I didn't
It
stay to
was
see if
shorter
there was
than part
anything.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if there was anything after the credits,
there
but I
weren't.
mean,
Nope.
I totally was affected and brought up a lot of memories from me, a lot of nostalgia because I've grown up with the soundtrack to an extent. I just had never seen a full on performance of it, and now yeah, like seeing the context and everything is just so many memories. I'm a big fan of Idina Menzel. I've seen her
Mhm.
live shows, and part of her
Yeah.
finales usually is like yeah, her doing an a cappella version of For Good, and it just yeah, it's so
Oh, that's so sweet.
heart
Yeah.
wrenching. Yeah, yeah, and then
Oh,
she'll
did you guys watch A Wonderful Night with
Yes.
Wicked or of
Oh,
Wicked? I
that was
haven't watched it yet
wonderful.
because I had a feeling I would. I didn't know what songs they were gonna have, and I'm like, am I ready
It's
to cry yet?
really
No.
good. The version of For
It
Good
looks
that's
good.
in that is whoa.
Oh
I
yes,
sobbed. Yeah. Hmm.
I did. I saw parts of it, and that's why I'm like, I need to watch it. But am I gonna
Yeah.
cry?
And then the
Probably.
Defying
Uh,
Gravity with the actual flying. Again, she's never gonna sing this
oh,
song
I saw
standing
that.
still.
Yeah.
Like she's always
No.
got to be flying. I'm like, props to you. Oh my God.
the tour I saw, I think the encore was Let It Go, but I guess I don't know if
Oh,
she would
yeah.
do another live show if she would finish up with
She's still doing some live shows. I have
yeah,
seen here and there. She does songs from Rent. I have seen her perform live
Mm,
at the Minnesota
I
Orchestra
love
like
Rent.
years ago. She was like
would
barefoot with the
yeah
orchestra. It was really cool.
would she wrap up with Defying Gravity or Let It Go, do you
I
think
think it
now?
was Defying Gravity.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
because it
sense.
was pre-Frozen. This was like
I mean like
2000.
now
I remember.
for
But nowadays, I
yeah
don't know what she does nowadays. Yeah.
when I saw this
She probably does like Rent or something or an
Over the
obscure one, so
moon.
she doesn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah. Moo with
She's like, I
me.
don't want to sing those songs anymore. I don't even
Yeah.
want to sing Let It Go, and it's not even my song. So
Yeah.
I do it enough.
Anyway, I thought I maybe saw she was going on tour again, but
Oh yeah.
I guess I haven't been as in the loop. I'll have to, yeah, put on my Oz persona and become more of a sentimental man as I
Here we go.
enter my dotage. But in the meantime, I've been Philip Elke, host of the Thoughtcast, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you, of course, Lara and Bridget, and I'll see you on the Thoughtcast in the future. But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and we, of course, need to wish you all a magical day, wonderful week, and most importantly, warm hugs during this winter season.
Rejoicify that we are done with Wicked.
Yeah, congratulations.